All right, we are officially live. No black screen like last time.
We had a black screen?
When I first started.
But I didn't tune in until later.
Yeah, when I first started, there was a black screen, but I discovered that you have to pick one of the options below here. Like there's one for just a single screen, double screen, and then multi-people, you know?
Gotcha.
So so I had to physically add us to the screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I wanted to use my laptop tonight, but it came up and it was just so grainy.
Yeah, I had a laptop that was like that. I mean, it didn't start that way, but it became that way with a lot of use over the years.
Yeah, it did.
But speaking of equipment, this paycheck that I just or that I'm going to be getting, I put in some overtime on it, and I think I might invest in a microphone.
Yeah. Did you start the live yet?
Yeah, we're live right now.
Yeah, because it's showing up because my girlfriend just showed me the live, and hasn't popped up yet. Apparently, it says it will start in a few moments.
Oh well, we're live right now. We got 5 people watching.
Oh, we do. Okay. All right. Well, then if that's the case, then nothing to worry about then.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a delay.
I don't know. Probably.
Whoever all is here, make yourself known. Yeah, dude, it's a good night tonight. I have the Cubs game on right now, and
how are the Cubs doing? I'm surprised they still have baseball playing, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, with the all the stuff that's been going on, especially with the Marlins and now more recently the Cardinals, I am too a little bit.
Yeah, I'm starting to think there's not going to be any football either because, and the thing is, I think the Big Ten really jumped the gun on their decision because, honestly, the MAC doing it makes a lot of sense financially. And honestly, they had a reason to get rid of their season. But the Big Ten just going, someone just deleted their season, got rid of it, so now we have to. And I don't know, hopefully the other conferences are a little bit smarter than that. And Trevor Lawrence from Clemson made a really good point. I saw his thing shared where he was talking about how players have a greater chance of catching the virus or just being in trouble, or just without football, that's a huge blow to the players. And it just makes zero sense to not play football.
No, it doesn't. No sense. You can catch this just walking down the street by people. You have a chance to catch it anywhere. But so it's ridiculous. I mean, but you make a good point though, and actually I heard this from a guy that I've been watching for a little while now, Always Irish. His real name's John, but I was watching his recent episode earlier today, and you're right with what you said. Some conferences, like the MAC, for example, well, maybe not the MAC, but definitely a conference like the Sun Belt, they actually lose money fielding a football team.
Yeah, so it makes sense for them to get rid of their football program. It doesn't really make sense for the Big Ten because that's money, and I guarantee you that affects recruiting.
Definitely.
That's going to affect recruiting big time. And if you in teams like Clemson and teams like Oklahoma and all those teams, they're going to use that against them.
Oh, yes. I read an article.
Recruiting, I'll tell you what, the Big Ten, maybe Ohio State can survive, but the Big Ten is going to be in for a rough road here in the next decade because of this one blunder.
And real quick, not to cut you off, Eric, but I want to welcome in all our viewers. We got Mike Biederman in the house, my buddy Dwayne Roll Tide Roll, Mark Kramer, longtime viewer, first-time commenter, my buddy JJ, and, of course, my co-host, Irish Benjamin. JJ, Ben, do you guys want to get on with us?
Oh, we can have more than 2 people on here?
I believe StreamYard lets you have up to 9.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. I thought it was a 2-person thing. That'd be cool.
Yeah. But of course, it's up to these guys if they feel like it. I know JJ. We've talked about it. But yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, dude. What were you gonna say? Well, I didn't mean you were in the middle.
Irish Benjamin says, "Love the Trump shirt." Thank you, sir. You might not be in a lot of other company tonight, but on that statement. But I'm glad somebody likes it. You know, you're with me. I like it. So yeah. I'm the only person that needs to like it. As long as I like it, that's fine with me.
Hey, I like it. I'm not exactly what you would call a Trump fanboy. I mean, I don't put the flags up. I don't put the signs in my yard, but
and that's the thing is too, is like, I'm going to say that I do believe there are better candidates that would be out there, but they're not running this year. Like someone who I would vote for before, and I like, I've said this to my mother and she doesn't, I don't know if she agrees with me entirely on it. I would vote for Candace Owens if she ran before I voted for Trump.
She is so intelligent.
Seriously, but you know what though? She's way too about the people. She's way too intelligent, and she preaches the right things and she tells the truth. Yeah. So she would never get into office like that. You almost wouldn't even like I would vote for her, but it's like, why am I even bothering? Because she would never get into office. I don't think she's gonna run either.
At least not now. But anyway, so Walter. Hey, Walter, how's it going, dude? So Ben, as you guys know, if you've been watching me for a while, Irish Benjamin 57 is my co-host on our show, The Two Irish Brothers. This channel here is separate from that, so don't think that we're intermixed or anything. But Ben, you say you're moving furniture, so all right, JJ, if you want to hop on, here is the link. I am posting it now. Derek Cooper, new name. Amy VS. Haven't seen you before, so welcome.
I know who that is. I know who that is.
Who is it?
It's my mother. Yep. Yep.
Oh, shoot. I think it would help if I hit the chat button so JJ could get the link. Well, with your mother watching, Eric, you better behave yourself.
I'm gonna behave the same way I would any other time.
Honestly, my parents, this is gonna sound mean, but I forbid them from watching my live streams and my videos. Well, some videos I let them watch. But then again, my dad, I'm not too worried about that because he is going to be turning 69 years old this coming Saturday. And what's funny as hell, he doesn't know how to operate a computer. And I'm surprised he actually just got a smartphone, which I'm surprised about that. He's going to be turning 69 years old. This coming Saturday.
Hello.
And what's funny as hell,
Derek Cooper asked who my favorite team is. I'm a Syracuse fan, and I'm a Buffalo Bills fan.
Smartphone, which I'm surprised about
that. My name.
What's up, JJ? 69 years old.
I hear a background. I hear the stream in the background.
Yeah, I think we got that fixed. I hope so, anyways.
So,
yeah, it was throwing me off there for a second.
Would you prefer I call you JJ or John?
Just call me the Great One, my friend. Whatever you want. It's fine. Right. It's okay.
JJ and I here go back a long time. Another one of my viewers.
Absolutely, yes, very much so. Very much so. I was on the original Big Sean Power 10 kick back in the day. We're talking like 2009,
Mm-hmm. That's when I first started, was 2009. And yeah, for those of you who don't know, this is not my first channel. I created this channel to kind of get out of the Big Sean name. I wasn't liking it too much. And plus there's a rapper with the same name. So I'm like, yeah, nothing against rap, just...
Wasn't that the one too? Like, did creating the Big Sean, or getting rid of the Big Sean Power 10 one? did that get you out of the targets of the RCMB or no?
No, they still know who I am.
God, I remember those days. Jesus, God, that takes me way back. The Red Cedar.
They're on 247 Sports now, I think.
Yeah, the board still exists, but it's under the Michigan State 24/7.
You have to pay to join it. Like, why would I want to pay to be an asshole on a message board?
Why would you want to pay to be on a message board in general?
Yeah, like seriously, like I can go to the SB Nation page for Syracuse and talk with just enough rational Syracuse fans right there. I learned my lesson on going on Syracuse.com. That's absolutely cancerous out there. It's horrible.
Cowboys Longhorn, welcome aboard, my friend. And yeah, if you guys didn't hear it, Derek, Eric's team is the Syracuse Orange. And yes, Derek, my father is turning 69 years old. So,
no, but the big news really, though, that is hitting pretty hard for me is the Big Ten canceling football. And it makes me wonder, is that Notre Dame-Syracuse game going to happen?
I don't know, to be honest with you, but we got to keep in mind though. And I was watching Big Vol Daddy's video from earlier when he was talking about this. Got to choose our words carefully because it sounds like the Pac-12 and the Big Ten are looking to move to the spring. But I don't know if that's even going to happen. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows if they'll? I mean, hopefully after the election's over and Trump wins, maybe they'll just get rid of all this nonsense.
Keep America great, by the way. You're not alone. Believe me, you're not alone.
Love you, man.
See,
I decided to wear that in light of Joe Biden, picking Mrs. I Sleep My Way to the Top, Kamala Harris as his vice president.
Yeah, wasn't she just on some interview and then she just got absolutely crushed into dust? I didn't watch the interview, but I've heard about it. I'm not going to talk too much on it because I'm not very informed on it. But I did hear something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know too much about her other than I guess that back in the day, the mayor of San Francisco and her had some kind of affair, and that's how she landed her spot, I guess, as a city councilwoman maybe. And so, yeah, I mean, little aspirin between the knees would help that chick, but you know how it goes. Liberal women are a little crazy.
It's like did you guys ever watch Liar Liar?
I did.
It's like that right there, where it's I thought I could help my career by making her squeal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what this is like here. That's the exact same situation.
Oh yeah, no doubt that it
Trying
is.
to further her career, but it blew up in her face.
I knew that he was going to pick her. Everybody, like all my coworkers thought it was going to be Michelle Obama, and I was like, she's not. There's no way that's not going to happen.
The one who I thought had a pretty good chance was Tammy Duckworth, the senator from here in Illinois.
Oh, that would have been playing politics to the max. Him just trying to win that I can only imagine how that would have gone.
Well, here's what we're going to have with Kamala Harris. And by the way, guys, this is my first time ever talking face-to-face with JJ, if you can believe that.
Yeah, surprising because we've known each other for so long. But.
Yeah. Well, it's just the time never really arose to where we could actually, sit and talk. I mean, we're all busy with our lives doing stuff, and that's just how it happens. And yes, Dwayne, Roll Tide Roll. I was known as Big Sean at one point. But anyway, I digress. Kamala Harris, you know what we're going to hear. You know what they're going to play on. They're going to play on the fact that she's a woman, number one. Number two.
How well did that work in that first election in 2016? That didn't work very well then. And you know what? If you put a woman in there as a candidate that actually brings something good to the table, I will vote for her. But
of course,
nor this freak show here, Harris, brings anything good to the table. Nothing.
No.
Yeah. I'm not voting for him. I'm not.
Now here's what I'd like to know. What is she going to go for? Is she going to go as a black woman or an Indian woman? Because she claimed to be a Native American at one point.
Well, Sean, it's 2020. You could be a pony if you want. My God, I mean, I could literally say I'm a rhino, and you'd have to believe me. Otherwise, you'd be able to look discrimination. Come on now.
I don't believe you. So go find your college's nearest safe space and go cry yourself to sleep there. Maybe we'll get you. We'll fund an emotional support animal for you or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was actually born a kangaroo, so I want all of you to refer to me as the marsupial.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
If you don't, I refuse to be discriminated against. So you better call me a marsupial or a kangaroo.
You know what? If I keep drinking beer throughout my life, I'll have a kangaroo pouch. So I mean, I guess I could then identify as a kangaroo.
Yeah, I'm not too far away from that either.
So JJ is getting pretty close to being able to identify as the kangaroo.
Getting there. Yeah, getting there. Working on it. I have a few Miller Lights to go, but I'll get there.
I actually just had my first alcoholic beverage in 7 months this past week.
Really?
Literally since New Year's Day.
Okay.
So I've been.
Mine was yesterday.
I have nothing against alcohol. I just don't.
Yeah.
Don't drink a lot.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, I gotcha. I feel that.
But Craig, he's been keeping us alert on the Stanley Cup playoffs. Tampa and Columbus has gone into a fourth overtime.
Mom, go find something to do.
What? You don't want to watch hockey?
No, I was talking to my mom. I was telling her, go find something to do.
Oh,
well, go find something to do.
Well, I'm liking what your mom's saying so far. She said above he didn't have much to choose from. They are all idiots.
No, but when she puts in the I identify as someone's mom.
Oh, I see that too. And actually, Cowboys Longhorns. We actually mentioned Candace Owens earlier. So,
oh yeah, I would vote seriously, and I know my mother disagrees with me, but I actually like Candace Owens better than I like Trump. If she were to run, I'd vote for her. But she's not, so I'm voting for Trump.
Of course, yeah.
Speaking of Kamala, this is the only Kamala that I like. I don't know how many of you will actually know who this is.
Can't say that I do. Is that a professional wrestler?
Yes. Yeah, Kamala. This is Kamala, the Ugandan giant. He was a
Ugandan giant. I love it.
Yeah, he was well known back.
Does Eric get heat for wearing that shirt in public? I haven't worn it in public yet. I actually just got this shirt in the mail today. I ordered it a while ago, but it didn't come. My mask came first. I have a mask that says, because I'm from New York, so we have Governor Cuomo, who's I have a few choice words I could say about him. But the mask says, this mask is as useless as our governor. And that's the mask I wear in public. I don't normally wear the hat in public. The hat came next. Normally, I don't wear that. And I've worn it a few times. This I just got today. I won't wear it to work or anything. That would be a dumb idea. Even though, it's pretty sad the day we live in where you can't even show up to your workplace supporting the commander-in-chief of the country. You can't even. Apparently, that's now a bad thing. Now that
also, my governor.
If we wear a Biden shirt, that'd be okay though.
Yeah, it makes me sick. My governor.
Shirt, if I wear a Hillary Clinton shirt, if I wear a BLM shirt, it's all good.
Right. Yeah. As long as it's politically correct, of course, you can wear it. Yeah. Yeah. My governor tested positive for COVID and then didn't again. Oh, false alarm. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
so
mine likes to tell everyone where they can go. And then, but he can go to Georgia with a room full of people wearing masks and not wear a mask and then hug and kiss on everybody. And then come back and say, well, I'm not going to quarantine, not even going to wear a mask. But he's going to get on there like a narcissistic prick and tell everyone else they need to wear masks.
Yeah, that's our governor here in Illinois, JB.
Not to mention the small amount of people we really need to protect. We go kill them. We're not even protecting the small amount of people that are actually could die from this. We're putting them at risk. But we'll protect everybody else, but the people who actually need to be protected. It's pretty funny.
Oh shoot. Sorry, Walter. I just saw you now. Let me see if I can get you on here. Hey, Walter, you're on.
Hey, what's up?
Walter, what's up, buddy?
Another one of my viewers who I go back quite a ways with.
Oh, I think he's the other one who has the Notre Dame symbol in his profile picture, right?
Yep.
Gotcha. I think I've seen you a lot of times, actually.
Yep.
Hey, Eric, is it true? I don't know how true this is, but I heard that Governor Cuomo, everybody talks about how President Trump, his response was so poor to the coronavirus and the pandemic, but I've always heard that like Cuomo took thousands of people and shoved them into nursing homes and they all died. That's
exactly what I was talking about when I was saying that we have a small amount of people that we need to protect, yet and that's those people that are in the nursing homes, yet what do? We put them right in there. And my grandfather, who just passed away last year, was in a nursing home. And, it's kind of infuriating to me to think that Cuomo could have killed my grandfather.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
He could have killed my grandfather.
Everybody wants to talk about President Trump's so-called supposed poor response,
Trump was banning going to disgusting China, where all the viruses come from. But I don't know, he was racist for that. So, I mean, here he is trying to do something about it, and he's just a racist for it. So it doesn't matter what he does, it's still wrong. You know what I mean? Then you have, like, for example, Mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, who's now blaming Trump for how poor his coronavirus response was. He's on record in an interview, I believe it was at the beginning of March. I could be wrong. It might have been March 10th or something like that. But he's on record saying, nope, business as usual. Everyone can go about what they're doing. And then not even a couple weeks later, him and his buddy Cuomo out there blaming Trump, just like everybody else. And then whining for federal aid and complaining about the federal government not giving them aid when Cuomo was the one who ran us into a financial disaster.
The best one that I've heard is Michelle Obama blaming Trump for her depression.
That's your problem, honey. Go to therapy or something. I don't know what to tell
I
you.
would be depressed if I was married to Barack too. So
how do you think Bill Clinton feels? I'll tell you what, I can't blame Bill Clinton for having all those affairs. I would have to too if Hillary was my wife. I'd never be home.
Speaking
I'd work long hours. I'd be sitting in the back room reading lots of books.
I think it was a Jeff Dunham stand-up that I saw once. A joke he made with I think it was Walter, not you, Walter, the puppet Walter.
I know what you're talking about. I actually work at Walmart.
Okay. But the joke he made was, I think the one who suffered most from the 2016 election was Bill, because that means Hillary comes home every night.
Yeah, no, I've heard that. I'm pretty sure that Bill was probably huddled up in a corner with a hockey mask on while Hillary threw a fit and threw things when she was losing.
Yeah,
did you saw the video she made where you could see her cracking? She's like, I don't know why. You might be wondering why I'm not 30 points ahead. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Man, that was so satisfying because it was just another one of those libtards squirming.
Did you fellas see where Russia approved a vaccine for the coronavirus already with very little testing and results?
I did not.
Just in time. Just in time. It's so great. It's great timing, isn't it?
Let them be the guinea pigs, though. If it works, shoot. I mean, let's see how the Russians do on it, and if it works, we'll take it.
They have all sorts of people trying to debunk the hydro, whatever that's called, stuff that's been showing to work, but then they they find something to pull out of their what to say, oh, this isn't going to work. Yeah. Just because they aren't done with their political BS and putting fear into people. I mean, they're paying hospitals $39,000 per coronavirus death. You're not going to tell me that it costs $39,000 to to house a coronavirus patient. I mean, you could make the argument that maybe it's about all the surgeries that they're not doing now because of the coronavirus and having to, help patients that can't get their surgeries. But they're going to be getting those surgeries eventually. It's just been postponed. And $39,000 is still a lot of money and big incentive to inflate the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
surgeries.
Go on, Walter.
You guys hear about that USC linebacker that has to have open heart surgery?
Yeah, my buddy Ben posted about that earlier. That is really sad. And rivalry aside, I wish nothing but the best for him.
What
There was
happened?
a football player that just passed away, I thought, too. No, it was a center at Florida State for basketball. Ojo just passed away.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that.
I did. It
What
popped up
happened
in
to
my
the
feed.
USC player?
I think it was Michael Ojo. I remember who Michael Ojo was, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
But yeah, getting to some of the comments here, and guys, don't think we were ignoring you. Derek Cooper wanted to ask you, Eric, have you ever gotten heat for wearing your shirt in public?
I did answer in my.
You did?
Yeah, I said that I just got this shirt. Like literally, I came home and the shirt was sitting on the table. But I have worn my hat out in public. I have not gotten any heat from anyone, but I'll probably be fully decked out, hat, mask, and shirt out, and I'm gonna see if I can, get someone to try to fight me or something. Who knows? We'll see.
I'd be packing just in case.
Oh yeah, I have a Mauser bayonet from World War II.
There you go. That'll mess some people up.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sean and Eric, you guys are in a pretty blue. You're in blue states. Ohio, for the most part, is pretty red, so I'm a little fortunate on that. Outside of Cleveland, because they're all
New York State is only blue because of the city.
Hey, JJ.
That's true.
Actually, quite conservative.
I might go to Ohio in 2 years.
You're gonna do what in Ohio?
For that Notre Dame Ohio State game, I have a cousin that's an Ohio State fan.
Walter, let me tell you this: you don't want to go around these idiots when we play them. These are the worst fans you've ever met in your life. You don't want to be around Ohio State fans. I live around them. They're the most obnoxious breed of fan you'll ever meet.
Yeah, Ohio State. Yeah, they're
the worst, the absolute worst. What they do,
there's no guarantee they're going to go, but.
Yeah, believe me, if you're going to go to the Notre Dame Ohio State game, go to it in South Bend. Just go to it in South Bend, wait till the home game. Don't even bother going to Columbus. Columbus is a train wreck. The fans are horrible. There was during the Nebraska-Ohio State game, my brother went to, I believe it was Nebraska-Ohio State. He was there just with friends, and like Ohio State fans, were dumping beer on this old guy's head that had a Nebraska hat. It was the most disgusting thing, but they do this to every single away fan base from what I hear. They're the worst. But let's face it, that's all they got is Ohio State. All Cleveland sports are garbage. Cincinnati's awful. What else do they have to fall back on? They have the Buckeyes, and that's it. The fan base is the worst. You heard it here first. They're going
to run Joe Burrow, probably one of the best quarterbacks they'll ever draft.
You mean LeBron James, Mr. My shoes are made by sweatshop labor kids in China.
He got a championship with Cleveland. He got a championship with Cleveland.
There's a reason why Ohio State Stadium is called the Shoe, because it stinks.
Yeah, it's a rough crowd here, man. Ohio State fans are the worst. They're the most obnoxious, arrogant fan base. I hear things about Alabama fans, but they've never been to the Buckeye State.
Honestly, you want to know a team that I really want to know a team that I root for? I root when I'm not watching. When we're not playing Syracuse. I'm sorry, Walter. I think your thing is a little delayed. So
I think it is too.
I think you talk, and then I'll start talking. But like in my perspective, you hadn't started talking yet.
Same.
I don't know if there's a delay or something.
I could easily mute people's microphones, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to talk over you, Walter. That's my mistake. You go ahead.
Can you hear me good now? Is it good?
I think we should be good. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Walter. What you were going to say?
Hi, buddy.
Giving my best shot, but if Ohio State fans were to try that on someone in South Bend, boy, they better hope that's not violent.
These people are insane, Walter.
South
I'm
Bend.
not making that up. I mean, look what happened.
I guarantee that would go, but for your warning.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2002,
What?
they burned the city of Columbus down after they won their first national championship since Eisenhower was president.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do to celebrate. You burn down your city. That sounds like a great way to celebrate. Well, you know.
Well, you know, Eric, so the thing is, man, like, so being a Notre Dame fan here, it's tough because it's like all I hear from Ohio State fans constantly, it's the same old garbage that I hear from other fan bases, but it's especially ramped up here is that we're apparently too afraid to join a conference. And I have to deal with this constantly from Ohio State fans.
The thing is, though, and that's so stupid because, like, and if you watch the last stream, I've definitely made my opinion that I think Notre Dame should join a conference because not only would it wouldn't be great for them in the short term because they would have to split the NBC contract, which is quite a bit of money for Notre Dame. So it's definitely a money thing. I think some of it's tradition, but if you want my opinion, I think it's mostly money because Notre Dame has no problem being in conferences and the other sports, but it's the one sport where they have the NBC contract that they won't join.
Right.
So, you know, do I think Notre Dame should join a conference? Mainly because it would be really good for the league, like the ACC. It would automatically make the ACC better. I think they should join a conference. But to say that they won't join a conference because they're scared, I think that's one of the most asinine things I've ever heard because, you know, and really, Notre Dame, there have been the last couple of Notre Dame schedules have been not as good, but the schedules are for all the teams are made well in advance. And a lot of these teams at the time the schedule was made were really good. Like Stanford, Virginia Tech is usually good. UFC is on some kind of weird downward trend. You know what I mean? Like all these teams, Notre Dame's usually playing a very tough schedule. And these teams are gonna get back up there. But Notre Dame plays a tough schedule, probably tougher than some of the teams play within their own conference. Like Notre Dame, like Alabama. Right. Alabama plays a terrible schedule.
Mm-hmm.
If you're really being honest and you look at Alabama's schedule, it's terrible.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? Like if we played in the Big Ten, we would basically just pound on Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana, Maryland, Rutgers. I mean, every conference has all their bottom feeders that win 5-6 games a year. So it's like, you know, when Ohio State hangs 70 on like Illinois, I'm like you know what, like Notre Dame could probably do the same. You're being honest. I mean, I'm not trying to like toot our own horn here, but I just, you know, when the whole you're too scared to join a conference, like for example, the Big Ten has maybe 3 schools that are really good, like really good: Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan / Wisconsin, kind of. You know, I think Minnesota's a bit of a fluke personally, but you know.
I would love to go back and look at the combined record for Notre Dame opponents' schedules from 2015 to or before 2014 to or look before 2018 because 2018 and 2019 is where you saw the opponents start to trend in the wrong direction, which I mean obviously helps you go undefeated. You know, when your opponents aren't very good, you're going to have a better chance. But I would love to take their combined opponent record that year and then the ones before that and stack it up against, teams like Clemson, who I actually like Clemson. Clemson would probably be one of my second favorite teams. I mean, they are orange, but I just love I love the Clemson coaching staff.
Yeah, Dabo is a very good man. I like Dabo. He's a man of God, a man of faith. He's a very good coach.
Clemson fans, I love the Clemson fans. Both of them are really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean when I was down in Georgia
especially
last year, you guys mentioned Alabama. Georgia fans, they were, for the most part, they were great when I was down there last year. Now, Clemson, I haven't really been around too many of them, so I can't speak to that.
Georgia just has one clown that represents their fan base and gives them a bad name.
Oh, Georgia, yeah. Sean, hey, if you ever come, please promise me you won't go to Columbus. Don't go to that travesty. Just don't do it. Don't put yourself through it, man. I mean, you'd be going into the Lions den.
I never planned to.
I'm not going to do it. You told me I'm not going to do it.
The only time I ever planned going to Ohio is I went to Cleveland to go to that grilled cheese place that was on Man vs. Food.
Yeah, Melt.
Yes,
you could go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland's pretty awesome too.
Do you want to know a restaurant that I have on my bucket list?
Let's hear it.
I want to go to the Heart Attack Grill out in Nevada.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, I love it because they're so honest. Like they literally market their food on just how much it can kill you.
Well, the best part,
hilarious marketing tactic.
The best part that I like with that place, because I've seen more than enough video clips on that place. The crazy part is they actually weigh you before you go into the restaurant, and if you are 350 pounds or more, for free.
You get to eat for free?
Yes, if you're 350 pounds or more.
Yeah, I'm 210, so I'm not worth to do.
I'm around like
I'm about
235.
I'm like 193, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I probably could be.
I'm 210 pounds.
I probably could be more. Ride a skateboard. Or
ride a
else that would keep me fit.
But another thing about the Heart Attack Grill too is everything they cook there is cooked in pure lard.
Oh my god!
The only vegetable they have there is tomato.
That's the only place I know that could market. Sorry, I have my phone because I wanted to use my laptop, but my laptop camera is absolutely garbage. So I have to occasionally deal with my phone falling over, which it is.
You're good.
It is. But anyway, Heart Attack Grill probably the only place that could have a scandal where like their food like kills like 2 or 3 people, but they could market off that. Heart Attack Grill, our death toll is up to 3.
Yeah, they've gone through like what 3 or 4 spokespeople.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. I saw a whole documentary about this place.
That's like dedicating.
In Nevada or something.
No, I'm sorry, Walter. Continue. I think I cut you off by accident again.
It's all right. Is that in Las Vegas or something?
Yeah. It's in Nevada. Yep.
Well, they used to have one in Arizona and a couple in Texas.
Yeah, that's like the same concept though as like dedicating your life to science and just like, where how they I believe there was something where they had some kind of one-way trip to Mars offer out there at one point, where they were going to send someone to Mars and they weren't going to come back. That's kind of how it is when like you're a spokesperson for the Heart Attack Grill. You're pretty much dedicating your life to diabetes at that point.
Yeah. Well, if you're at the point where you're like 500 pounds or whatever, and you're like, screw it, you might as well go out doing something that you like.
And then because then they're going to give you the strict diet, and then you're going to want to die.
Well, the guy who started the place, that John Basso, the guy that with the doctor gimmick, he plays that character so freaking well to the point where you actually believe him. Just like the evil doctor. I prescribe you a high-fat diet. Seriously, look this guy up if you guys haven't seen him.
Well, it's all like evil.
But also, to everyone in the comments,
evil doctor, play the game out loud. I can't see the comments.
I can't. I have to hit chat. I have to press a chat button.
Yeah. The chat. Well, not the private chat, but yeah, the regular chat should bring up the comments.
My mom just brought up a point. She just said they also do something to you if you don't finish your food. They smack you with a paddle if you don't finish.
That's true. That's
funny.
She also wants me to mute your microphone. I don't know. I don't know, Amy. Has your son been that bad of a boy that I have to do that?
No.
And yeah, so far, and yeah, the rest of the comments have been.
I'm going to mute her. Her comments are no longer going to show up. Banned.
I could block her, but I'm not going to do that to your own.
No. I'm only joking.
But yeah, just catching up on the comments because I don't want you guys to think that we're ignoring you. Just
I've noticed that like the comments only pop up if I go
Well, not really a whole lot of questions. More just like we have Craig and Cowboys Longhorns updating us on the Stanley Cup playoffs. Derek Cooper calls it Kung Flu. Mark Kramer called the virus the China virus. But Cowboy Longhorn makes a great point. He says, when I say the numbers are inflated, many people seem to translate that to me saying the virus is fake.
Craig also said Penn State fans are bad too. When I went to see ND and Penn State back in 1989, they were very rude and obnoxious. Well, they'll never be as obnoxious as their assistant coach.
Oh my God. I knew that was coming.
Snapping towel. That might, I'll tell you what, if we want to talk about a more awkward person than Joe Biden, like I notice a lot of similarities between Sandusky and Joe Biden. They both get on there and they say really dumb things like, yep, like I have kids rub my hairy legs. We're Biden. And you know, Sandusky said the same thing on the Bob Costas interview. He's like, well, you know, I have showered with the children and I've touched their legs.
See, Eric, as soon as you made that comment, my view count went from 5 to 7. So what kind of people are you attracting in here?
The people who, because, well, one thing you're going to know about me is that I don't bother with a filter because people are going to find out the truth about me whether I hide it at first or not. So I'm just going to put it all out there and let them make their decision from there.
I honestly don't give a damn.
But no, they said the same thing. Joe Biden, or I love kids jumping on my lap, rubbing my hairy legs and stuff like that. And then you have Jerry on there. It's a simple question. Bob Costas asks him, "Are you sexually attracted to underage boys?" And then here's Jerry. "Oh, sexually attracted? You know, I don't know. I enjoy young people." That is probably one of the worst interviews. The most like just absolutely like you want to take a shower to just wash the stench of that interview.
And did I just hear the Ric Flair woo?
That is my ringtone. My tech tone.
That's just messed up. Eric is talking about this interview, freaking Sandusky, and then all of a sudden I hear woo.
Ric Flair likes it.
Ric Flair and I share a birthday, so he will always be the GOAT to me.
Yeah, I like Ric Flair.
That's my boy. I love Ric Flair.
Limousine riding, profiling, kiss stealing, stealing, son of a gun. Woo!
And I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down.
Yep, the Joe and Jerry pedophile show.
So
God,
Jerry and Joe. They should start a campaign together. He should have had Jerry Sandusky be his running mate from the joint.
Well, and you know, they could also add a little incest in there too, because didn't Biden make out with his granddaughter or something?
Probably. They want to edit clips about Trump talking about his daughter. I mean, have they never heard Joe talk or the racist things that Joe Biden has said? I mean, it's right out there. You can look at some old newspaper clippings of things that Joe Biden said that were pretty racist right there, but they want to say Trump is racist.
And even in recent times, when Biden was, Eric, you and I were talking about this on the last stream on Saturday, and what do you got there? Oh, that's some good shit right there.
Can you see it, JJ?
I can't.
Oh, barely. I got a bit of a glare, but I think it might just be my computer.
Oh, God.
Amy, it was nice having you on, and I'll do the best that I can to keep your son in line here.
It just said get low with Grover Joe.
Oh, really?
Very good.
And it was a picture of Joe Biden wearing some jacket, but he had nothing else on. It was just the jacket.
God.
Yeah.
Not to change the subject, but we probably should a little bit here. Mark Kramer.
I told you, I came on here straight shots, not even holding back.
Eric, you're a moneymaker, man. Maybe you could be onto something. But getting back to sports a little bit, Mark Kramer here says, if the league does start with the ACC and SEC, and then later the Big Ten and Pac-12 starts in the spring, how the heck are they supposed to do the championship games? And that is a really good question.
The problem is this should have been organized by all the conference commissioners and presidents of all the universities and everybody back in May. There should have been a teleconference call and a Zoom meeting of some sort, something that everybody got on the same page and found out a strategy how to make this work. Instead, they just kicked the can down the road and half of them let their idiot governors decide their fate for them. And, even when there were workarounds for it, in California, you could still play football in California without that nutcase Newsom, whatever, nobody even listens to what he says anyways. But I'm saying, they should have gotten on the same page in May. It makes zero sense to me that they waited this long. Now, even if they did have a season in fall, you have such limited time to get these kids ready to go, ready in the weight room, ready to condition, ready to practice. Ian Book has hardly thrown to half of these receivers, in a real game. So, what do you expect Ian Book to do? It would be too much pressure on the players at this point with 3 weeks to go. This should have been organized back in May.
Always Irish. He said the same thing earlier, JJ. I didn't mean to interrupt you. He said the same damn thing earlier, and I 100% agree with this. All of these athletic directors, school presidents and so on, they should have been back in May or April, like you said. They should have been forming plan A, B, C, D, and so on. We should not just wait till 2 days, less than a week after we release all these schedules, which we all get pretty excited about. Yeah, and now they're canceling this. They're trying to cancel the season now. That makes zero sense.
And think about this too. How about all the teams with first-year head coaches and stuff? Their head coach literally has no time with his team. Those teams are probably going to end up looking like hot garbage this year, and it's not even going to be their fault.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of it too.
And here's the thing too. If you do play in the spring, what that ultimately is going to do, I'm okay with it because spring football is better than no football. But who you're really going to hurt there are the basketball schools. Duke, North Carolina. You're really going to hurt the basketball schools because their money makers are basketball, not football. Let's be honest with you. So you're really
football school anyway. North Carolina basketball was a joke last year.
Well, that's true.
But Mark does raise a good question though with his question. If you have let's say the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 12. Let's say that they do go ahead and play in the fall here, and then the Big 12, the Big 10, and the Pac-12 play in the spring. He has a really good question with the championship part. How would you do that? Not conference championships. I assume he means the national championship.
If a season's going to be canceled, just cut the losses and fall on next year. That's just me. Not a fan for spring football.
I see what you're saying, Walter, but the problem with that is if we don't have football, some athletic departments are going to go completely under, period.
Yeah.
Florida State's athletic director already said, a while back that if we don't play football, we're in trouble. So financially.
Correct. That shouldn't even has absolutely terrible reaction time. It seems like the NCAA has some kind of like delayed reaction disorder or something, because they don't react about anything until usually like 10 years after it's happened. How is this going to be any different?
It's not even. I think it's. I don't even think it's really the NCAA behind it. It's supposed to be athletic directors and whatnot stepping up.
The NCAA though is absolutely as crooked as all hell, and they run everything. And
yeah, nobody.
And the NCAA, you may as well not even have athletic directors. The NCAA is everybody's athletic director. That's just a sad truth right there. Cold hard truth.
Well, you know, I mean, yeah, because look what they did to Notre Dame for doing everything right. They took our wins away in 2012 and 2013. We did everything right. We didn't sweep anything wrong. We were honest. We suspended the players that needed to be suspended, yet we got wins vacated from us. And because of that, we're now like the 5th winningest program ever, when in reality we're like a close second. So, you know, the NCAA is all screwed up.
Well, and I wonder, North Carolina got away with the BS they did, but Jim Boeheim still has yet to get his wins back.
Hey, Shawnee, news just broke that the Big 12 is going to play no matter what. So that just, you know, popped up on my phone.
Great. And I know the ACC is looking to play. Notre Dame is starting their practice tomorrow as scheduled. And I have my faith in the SEC.
Me too. SEC wants to play football. They're not going to cower to the Corona Bros.
Well, and then also Mark Kramer added more on. First off, he asked, when do we think the 2021 season will get underway? My opinion on that, we'll go round table here. My opinion is you have to start it like you normally would, just on a shortened schedule.
Agree, 100%.
I'll be honest, I really don't even know on that. Because it's just like such a foreign situation to me. I wouldn't even have the slightest idea of when you start or what you even do. I'm just gonna sit back and be conservative on that one.
You're just gonna enjoy the show, huh?
I'm just gonna see what happens, because honestly, I don't want to make an opinion on something I really have no idea about.
You'd make a great politician.
I'm way too honest to be a politician.
Hey guys, I know about the SEC. Did you guys? I saw that might be playing Alabama to start the year, but it turns out it was not happening. And it's like, thank God, because I do not want to play Alabama anymore until Nick Saban is gone.
I think you'd be surprised. I think we'd actually give them a fight.
Well,
I think we'd actually give Bama a fight.
It could actually happen now if the 3 Power 5 forward.
Honestly, Walter, the team you don't want to play is Clemson, because Alabama is slowly but surely starting, and it's starting with the defense. The defense for Alabama, especially last year, was exposed in a lot of games. That was not – and Alabama's schedule last year was, as I mentioned, absolutely atrocious until they played LSU, and then LSU dragged them up and down the field. The games that Alabama played against good teams, they were beaten. They did beat Michigan, but Jim Harbaugh has had a hard time winning those type of games at Michigan, so that doesn't really come as a surprise. Florida destroyed Michigan in the one bowl game, so that comes to no surprise to me. But Alabama's trained. Alabama is still a very good program, and they could still turn around and win some national titles. But honestly, if I'm a Notre Dame fan, my biggest fear right now is Clemson.
Yeah, they are ridiculously good. It's not even funny.
Yeah, LSU
because
is
they're on the
really
schedule.
good,
not bad.
but I feel like LSU with that's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime team for them.
No questions asked.
Well, and also, guys, not to cut you off or anything, but the second part of Mark Kramer's question is, how would we determine a national champion in that scenario of all the conferences playing at different times?
Uh,
If you want my honest opinion, it's either Everyone plays at the same time, which is would be right now. And if you choose to play in the spring, you're shit out of luck when it comes to the national championship.
Yeah, you could play a season. It'll be like JV football at that point.
Yeah, you can play. You can play for your conference championship.
Pretty much.
Well, let me see if this gets a run in.
You know what happens anytime I see an LSU fan?
How many do you see in Indiana, Walter?
Hey guys.
Yeah.
And you know what happens every time?
Dwayne said,
I've had Orgeron.
all right, Dwayne's kind of calling me out a little bit, which is fair because he could probably have a good point. Bama defense last year started 4 freshmen on the front 7 due to injury. Everybody healthy this season, and we have more depth. Well, I don't think this would be the first year that Alabama's had a young defense or had injuries. I don't know if necessarily this Alabama defense was just as good as it has been. And I mean, it could just be a down year and they could come out next year and shut everybody down. But I mean, it's been Alabama for a long time, and everyone has to come down from that high horse eventually. And it's slowly going to manifest. Like, things are going to trickle from the top down. That's kind of the way I see it happening. But that's not to say that Alabama isn't still a contender and that it's them. And it's literally the programs that run college football right now are Clemson and Alabama, and there is no disputing that. But you could kind of see where maybe some stuff might start to manifest. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. It's not Notre Dame yet.
No, if you saw me going like this, that wasn't towards you. I have the Cubs game on.
Wilson Contreras at a sack fly. Yeah, I saw that.
It's 3-0 now.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, it was. Who was
Sorry
it?
about that. Here,
I think it was.
You could be right, Dwayne. You could be right, Dwayne. I could be completely wrong. But that's just kind of the way I see things.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I'm just an idiot with an opinion. That's all I am. So.
Yeah. Alabama's a football factory. They are an elite program, and I feel like they will be at least, until, I think even after Nick Saban leaves, I think that they're such a well-oiled machine, they'll be fine. And the SEC, yeah, you're right, has sort of caught up with them a little bit. LSU in particular, Florida looks really good. Auburn they're kind of an 8-4, 9-3 team, usually pretty consecutively, every year. And who else in the SEC is really worth? I'm missing one of the. Georgia, of course, too. Yeah, Georgia. So yeah, the SEC's catching up a little bit to Alabama, but I still think Alabama, Clemson, and it makes me want to throw up when I say it, but Ohio State is really, really, really good. Really, like, scary, really good.
You can't ignore the good programs. You can't, no matter how much you might hate them.
Yeah.
I feel for them and so close.
But holy crap, Mike Peterman, I saw a post of his not too long ago. 5th overtime between the Blue Jackets and Lightning. Wow.
That's nuts.
That's a long-ass game.
You know what? Walter, for some reason, I can't really hear you. I think I don't know if it's cutting out for everybody else, but you're cutting out for me. I can't ever hear your camera.
Yeah, I can't hear Walter either too much. He's cutting out a lot. I heard something about LSU, but he's from Indiana, so I don't know how many of those guys he actually sees. So I don't know what he's talking about.
All right.
I can't really hear you very well.
I have not seen an LSU fan in South Bend since 1998, and that's when the Tigers.
That's so long ago.
22 years. I was freaking 12 years old.
Yeah, I was 8.
And Eric, you weren't even born yet.
No.
Walter, what kind of phone do you have, my guy?
No, I'm on my tablet. My phone right here, it sucks.
All right, I was gonna say.
Can you hear me good now?
You didn't cut out that time. Maybe you
you're a little
badly by your device. The device heard you.
Craig brings up a good point here. Hey guys, what pisses me off is listening to ESPN say IY.
He probably meant it.
Oh, okay. say it.
But Dwayne says Bryce Young will be the future QB of the Crimson Tide. He very well could be. The Alabama, like I could certainly be wrong on what I'm saying, but I mean that's just how I feel.
It doesn't keep them in the game too many times when they're blowing out. That's what happens. We're talking about
outside of Tua, what? Alabama. I can't even remember the last time Alabama's had a truly elite quarterback. I think Tua is going to be a very good NFL quarterback, but Mac Jones, Jake Coker, is that his name, or whoever, and then whoever they had before that, none of these guys panned out. A.J. McCarron, he didn't pan out. So they run the ball and they play defense. That's what Alabama does. Up until Tua got there, when Tua got there, they started throwing the ball.
It almost seems as if Alabama really wasn't coming up big in those big games. And I'm not saying this is the fault of Tua, but I don't know, how many national championships did Alabama win under Tua I know Tua saved the day against Georgia, but after that, I mean, I didn't really it was kind of Clemson dominating that time period, and then LSU obviously.
Yeah, right. No, yeah.
Clemson.
Sorry, Sean. I'm sorry.
I love it. I love hearing the Ric Flair woo.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's one of my ladies is texting me.
One of your ladies, you're a player?
Yeah, no, I wish in my dreams.
One of my ladies.
No, so you know what?
Yeah.
What happened?
Right. Hayward just went deep, a 3-run bomb.
Well, dude, he put a nuke. He put a nuke in the stands.
Yeah, Cubs lead 6-0.
I love it, dude. Hap has been hitting the ball, man. Damn. Wow,
guys! At 9:30, I am going to sign off.
Okay,
so I'm going to stay on for this next 28 minutes, but at 9:30, I'm going to sign off.
All right.
I may be able to tune in a little bit or something, but
I can't go super late either because I gotta be up at 5 a.m. for work. So
I'm gonna watch the Hawks.
I was just working
tonight.
I was doing some brutal work today. We had. I'm doing some work for a flea market right now, and we go to houses and we do clean outs and stuff like that of whether for people who are moving. In this case, the person whose house we were cleaning out had passed away, and we were taking, and there's a whole estate thing going on there. So, those jobs are freaking brutal, man. They are, because you're just working in the hot sun, unloading things, bringing heavy furniture up the stairs, loading bins of stuff and bringing it up, and then loading it into a trailer, and it's brutal work.
Oh, I hear you on it. I know exactly what you're talking about. That stuff sucks.
Good night, Mark.
Especially
Wayne says LSU will be good, but not Burrow good. And I said that earlier. I said LSU is one of those one of those once in a generation type teams.
Yeah, they were really that good. They were truly elite last season. They had so much firepower on offense. They were so fast on defense. Look how many players they put in the draft into the NFL. And yeah, Joe Burrow is I hate to keep harping on this, but Ohio State fans, how obnoxious they are, but they keep claiming Joe Burrow is one of their own. I'm like, you guys let him go. And he played for LSU, so he's not. He might have committed there, but he's not one of you. Sorry, but he's not.
No.
Ohio State fans are trying to take credit for Joe Burrow.
Everyone around me, man.
Get out of here. Tell them, any Ohio State fan who does that, tell them to go. Never mind.
Well, they can go after themselves and say it.
It's not too long ago we beat LSU. People forget that.
Twice. We beat them twice within the last 6 years.
Yeah, exactly.
How about Left Miles over there at Kansas? How about we talk about a football program that really doesn't get talked about hardly at all because they suck, but Kansas, I'll tell you what, that team improved last year.
It's hard to see just for how bad they've been.
I feel like Kansas is one of those programs that loses money in the athletic department.
Kansas automatically, because they had that really bad loss to Coastal Carolina earlier in the year, terrible. But After that, they turned around and went to Boston College and on the road and put up 48 points. And they actually had quite a few. Now, they weren't very consistent, but they had some Big 12 games where they actually put up some points. That was a different-looking Kansas team. It may not show in the record in the first couple of years, but that is a different team and a different culture there in Kansas. And with time, Les Miles can have that team contending for the postseason.
That's possible. Yeah, you're
Sean,
right.
Sean, have you ever heard of a YouTuber named RJ Young?
Oh, I think Walter was trying to say something. Can you say that again, Walter?
I think Syracuse is an underrated football program because, as a Colts fan, they gave us Marvin Harrison and Robert Mathis, I believe.
You're
I can't
right,
thank them enough.
You're right, Walter, and that's a good point. Syracuse at one point was a very good football program. They were kind of like how Michigan is now. We weren't exactly contending for like national titles or anything.
Last time.
But we were doing pretty well. We were up there.
You guys had Eric Dungy.
Now who was the user, JJ, that you asked me if I
liked Eric.
His name is RJ Young. He does like the RJ Young show. He usually puts out like 4 videos a day. Are you familiar with him?
No.
Yeah, so if you get a chance, just check out some of his videos. It's not, I mean, the content, it's not anything to do with the content, but like he's a huge Oklahoma fan and he drags Notre Dame all the time for getting like blown out by Clemson and Michigan and all that. And I'm like, how many years in a row has Oklahoma gone to the first round of the playoff and gotten absolutely obliterated? How many times have they proven they don't belong every single time?
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because Craig Sebring here, a comment that he left earlier that I wasn't able to get to right away. He says, in regards to the shutdown and all that, he says, ESPN says it was the right move, Sean. You know how much I can't stand listening to them. Yes, I agree with you, Craig. I can't stand listening to them either because this is the same network that has Paul Feinbaum. And we all remember what Paul Feinbaum said about us. Notre Dame, after losing to Clemson like that, they should never be allowed in the playoffs again. Never.
Yeah, and then Oklahoma gets their teeth kicked in by Alabama.
The only playoff game that had a blowout loss involved. It seems like every single year there's blowouts in the first round.
Yeah, so
Ohio State getting beat 31-0, goose egg.
Yeah, at least we got a field goal.
The Big Ten, I can't remember. When's the last time the Big Ten scored a point in the playoffs? Anybody?
Well,
Michigan State got shut out. Ohio State got shut out.
Ohio State almost beat Clemson last playoff, though.
Walter, when you rejoin the next time, you're going to need to find a better camera. Like, I want to hear what you have to say, but like you're cutting in and out.
Walter, you need to get some better
I'll
equipment.
try. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because like I'm sure you probably had some really good contributing points to the conversation, but unfortunately we can't hear you.
Better?
I'm not sure. I think I don't know. I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi connection or something, but
you're also on a delay too.
Huge delay.
Yeah, crap.
Yeah, that's why I end up cutting you off because I'll start talking and then what you said like 30 seconds ago will all of a sudden come out.
You have to excuse me. I do need. You're right. I do need better equipment.
Yeah, because we would love to. Feel like you're a little more involved in the conversation. It's just hard to hear you.
Yeah, because there were people in the comments saying they were having a hard time hearing you too. But yeah, catching up on those comments, Craig also said that if colleges moved to the spring, that would be a disaster because it would be mostly sophomores and freshmen, which could be true. That could be the case. And then let's see, Dwayne said that LSU was kind of like 2010 Auburn with Cam Newton. And then he tells you, good job tonight, Eric.
Thank you.
I mean, Eric, in the short time that I've known you, you are a very passionate guy.
Definitely.
And so far, what I've really liked about tonight's stream, no clowns.
Honestly, I love it when the clowns show up because that makes for a good show.
That's true. I can't. It's kind of hard to argue that.
It makes for a good show. Honestly, I have fun talking to the clowns. Clowns don't really bother me, even when they're repetitive. That's part of YouTube. That's part of being on the platform. And that's kind of what makes it fun in a lot of ways. That's your entertainment value right there.
Well,
just
I know
like Kamala Harris being selected, that's entertainment value for me. I like that. That's funny.
Well, I can tell you one thing. When we had that stream of them come in with those ridiculous names on Saturday, I know Dwayne here told me that he knows who's behind some of them. Well, that could be the case, but I saw a couple of those same names on one of Big Ball Daddy's recent live streams. But I'll tell you one thing, and I'll go ahead and say names. If it is Uncle Lou, then he seriously needs to get a freaking life.
I don't think
not
it is
surprising.
Uncle Lou is him and Big Ball Daddy have teamed up. They do a morning show together. But Uncle Lou's a Georgia fan who had gotten some notoriety because he's called into like the Paul Feinbaum show and just a YouTuber who's really picked it up over the past few years.
Okay. Gotcha.
Uncle Lou, I'm pretty sure Uncle Lou is a Democrat too.
Oh, he is. He is. And the thing is, him and I had a little feud a few years ago. And it's a long story and I won't repeat it, but he had everybody convinced that I couldn't take heat for whenever Notre Dame lost or when we lost to Georgia and whatnot. And then he said that I just cried and whined like a bitch and ran off because I would never address him.
You remember that 4-8 season? Because I've been watching you since I think it was 2016. I started watching you. You showed up just about after every single game of that 4-8 season. I saw a video.
The only times that I didn't show up there was I was avoiding talking Michigan State. But other than that, yeah, I showed up for every video. But I'm talking more like personal with him and me. But he had everybody thinking that I disliked him because of football, because his team beat my team. No, I didn't like him because he took personal shots at me. He took a personal shot at my Christian faith, badmouthed the denomination that I was a part of. So really nasty things. And that's why I don't like the guy. It has nothing to do with football.
My big I'm going to go on the record and say that my problem is not with the majority of atheists, because there are a lot of atheists that they just simply are very sciencey, down to the facts type of people. And like I can understand that point of view. I don't really necessarily agree with it all. I do believe that there's got to be something else at work here with a lot of the things that happen. And I think there's a lot of, there's obviously no concrete evidence of the existence of God, because the people who know aren't exactly in the condition to tell us. But honestly, atheists are just a lot of times very, very believing in science. But if my problem that I have with atheists are the ones that attack people for believing in a God, or that talk about how much they hate God. And it's so stupid because how can you hate someone who in your mind doesn't even exist?
Exactly. So why put some time into it?
Why get on there and attack people who do believe in a God? What difference does that make in your life, whether someone believes in a God or not? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, and atheism, my problem with atheism is the core of what they believe in is that our entire existence as humanity is one giant mistake. It's an accident. And science, if they're so into science already has, it's pretty clear that nothing can spontaneously just create itself out of thin air. With that said, there has to be some type of force that created the planet and the universe. So they're already kind of arguing from a place of, I don't want to be insulting. That doesn't make any sense when they say that, the Earth just sort of exploded with molecules and atoms. Well, something had to cause and create that spark, right? I mean, science says that. Am I wrong? I mean, I don't know. So, I mean,
I didn't mean to start a religious discussion here. That wasn't my goal. I just was.
I kind of started that, John. So
you guys wrote an answer, so I gave it to you. And
I started that one. That's on me.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
You were mentioning because I know the story of Uncle Lou and what happened there. So, and because he's on that, he's the everything that's wrong with like that portion of atheists. He kind of represents that small that he represents that small group.
Okay. Yeah, I probably didn't need to explain, but I just,
No, I know the story. Yeah.
But you guys know the story anyway, but I just wanted to recap it. But Dwayne tells me that those troll accounts are used purposely on BVD's channel for fun. So he uses them on there. Is that what you're saying? Wow, Craig, that's you almost died 4 times and highly believe that God has saved me all 4 times, and I love him in my heart, and that is all that matters to me.
That's good, Craig. And I saw your other comment too, Craig, that you support Trump no matter what people call you. That's good. And there's a Facebook group that I'm a part of. It's called the Walkaway Campaign, and there are people on there who have shown like screenshots of their daughters and kids like disowning them pretty much because they voted for Trump. There was one absolute potato who was like, "Do you realize that like I could get denied health care just because I like girls?"
what?
That might act like, do you get denied health care now? Where's all the homophobic? Where is all of it? When it's the most wildly accepted thing now ever. Like seriously, it's the most wildly accepted thing now. And you think just because you like girls that you're going to get denied health care? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If she really thinks that voting for Trump means that she's going to get denied health care because she likes girls, then that's absolutely ridiculous.
Guys, we got our first one. Dylan Glass just showed up. Great, a bunch of brainwashed Trump supporters. Shaking my head.
Yes, we are a bunch, and we have had our brains washed of all the bullshit. If that's what you're talking about.
Trolls.
Yes, you're right. In that sense. So you can go vote for Joe. You can go vote for Joe Sandusky and Kamala Harris. And we're gonna vote for. We're actually gonna vote for an actual future in America that isn't run by the Democrats. Not Joe Biden. The Democrats have their hand right up his ass. So
let me just say this: if before this guy tries to start with Trump and whatnot, I'll just say this: if it's true with President Trump and Stormy Daniels, hey, at least he got a consenting adult porn star.
Seriously, you Democrats have a lot of nerve to get on here and talk about anything with Trump. You guys are a bunch of hypocrites. And you blatantly choose not to inform yourself of the facts. And if that makes me brainwashed, yeah, my brain has been washed of all the bullshit. So you can say what you want, Dylan. Dylan, you can say what you want. I really don't care because none of it is supported by any facts. And no, the Communist News Network does not qualify as facts. So,
this could easily be one of those accounts that Dwayne was talking about.
I don't know about that. I think he just doesn't agree with me, which is fine.
Well, it's ironic that we start talking about this stuff and this guy shows up.
Hey Dylan, did Joe Biden have you rub his hairy legs when you were a kid?
I'm still cracking up at the Joe Sandusky.
I'll tell you what, I'm actually sad that I only have 10 more minutes on here. I'm actually sad because I really, man, come on. Why is it that all these accounts, like it was the other guy last time, why do they take so long to respond? Why don't they respond? It's making me mad. Respond.
There might be a delay between the video and the comments.
Probably.
Yeah.
They almost never respond.
My equipment sucks. Forgive me, my equipment sucks.
You'll eventually
I'll try to get a
No, not a no. This isn't a troll account. No, he stumbled upon our video. He doesn't like Trump, which is pretty common, and he wants to tell us how brainwashed we are. Either that or he votes for Bernie, who wimped out on him twice now.
Well, let's see, Dylan Glass. I'm pretty sure that's a name that I've seen on here before. So, I mean,
I don't know about that. I think he just stumbled upon the video. Not everybody who disagrees with us is a troll. They just are blatantly uninformed.
He's the only one that's been on the stream tonight.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. If we're gonna get on here and talk about controversial topics, someone is gonna come in here that disagrees with us. That's just flat out, or thinks that we're a bunch of delusional hicks who, which I mean.
Well, it's funny. It'd be funny to call any of us a hick because we're all from up north. I mean, I'm from Illinois.
Hey, Dylan.
JJ's from Ohio, and Walter's from Indiana. So, I don't know how
both of you guys that live in the South Bend.
Dylan, do you not realize that the Democrats are on record also undermining this coronavirus pandemic? They didn't respond either. Trump actually did respond. He had a travel ban with those other countries that are disgusting and make viruses and they get sent here. But he was racist for doing that. Meanwhile, guess what? You want to know what Obama and his pandemic team are worth in this country? About as much as used toilet paper. That's about how much they're worth.
Hey guys, hold on.
That's why they're gone. And yes, Trump defunded the WHO. But do I really need to explain why the WHO is something that, yes, should be defunded? It all goes through Bill Gates. And if I have to explain that to you, then there is no more need to even have this discussion, Mr. Dylan Glass.
This guy could easily be pulling our leg, too. I mean, he could actually be smart, but he just wants to say stuff to get us riled up. Because I've encountered a lot of people like that.
Well, I love this encounter. I'd like him to keep responding.
But it's funny too. If this guy and others like him, if they actually do vote for, sleepy, creepy, incest pedo Joe, his running mate Kamala Harris that he just announced. It's funny too because we started talking about this earlier. I mean, obviously, he brought her on for the woman vote, the black vote, and of course, the feminist vote because she supports abortion and Planned Parenthood and all that. Which it's funny because the Democrats, it's them who a lot of them, the majority of them, all support Planned Parenthood, whose founder was a racist. And specifically said that she started the place. It wasn't called Planned Parenthood at first, but she said specifically that she wanted to weed out the black race, the Negro population.
Hey, I would also like to
address the racists.
I would like to address the other part of. I would love to address the other part of Dylan Glass's comment.
Sure.
Obama was a professional president who helped move our nation forward. So that's what you're looking for, right? Just someone who sits back and talks good and is smooth talking. That's all we need. That's all we need. Obama and what did Obama do to push our nation forward other than find people who already can't afford health care?
Good point.
Yeah,
well,
President Obama.
Obama phones. Obama didn't do shit for this nation. Nothing. Obama didn't do a damn thing. So the fact that you're getting on here and talking about how much Obama did for this nation, I'd love to hear what he did.
I did
more today I did more today. I could write down more things I did today than Obama can write down that he did for America. Absolutely nothing. It was the most uneventful presidency ever.
Hey, Dylan, do you want to come
Played
on?
a lot of golf. That's what he did.
Dylan, do you want to come on the show? I can send you the link. We can bring you on.
Dylan, that's so dumb. No, it's not. It's not. We were actually in a terrible recession under Obama. It was terrible. When Trump took over, all of a sudden the economy started doing better. How about all the black Americans off of food stamps during his presidency? You want to give Obama credit for this? How? What did he do that made our economy any better?
Well, here's the deal.
I'd really like to hear that. Other than just trying to make a blanket claim that Obama actually helped us out of the recession. Tell me how.
Yeah, here's the deal. To understand why there was a recession to begin with, you have to go back and you have to really look at what happened and why there was a recession, and that was because Democrats largely decided that they wanted to be, the nice guys that they always lied to be. And they passed several bills. Republicans were sort of to blame for it too, but a lot of it was Democrats. They decided to pass legislation making it easier for banks to give out housing loans to people who could clearly not afford it. There you go. You have a recession. People, foreclosed on their homes. They couldn't afford them. They couldn't afford the loans. That was mostly a Democrat program. People forget that, yes, George W. Bush was in office during the early 2000s, but in 2006, there was a predominantly Democrat Congress, House and Senate. Before that, Dodd-Frank and all these other bills that have been passed for the housing market. The housing market tanked, and that's what caused the recession. So, Obama, he sort of led us through the recession, but it was caused largely because of these banks handing out these loans to people who couldn't afford these houses. So you have to look at the root cause of these problems instead of just saying Democrats good, Republicans bad. Democrats were kind of, to blame too for the housing market tanking and the recession.
Nobody's saying Republicans are perfect.
No, honestly, right. Republicans, you could say that in a sense, being too far right, Republicans, if it were completely up to them, during this COVID unemployment stuff, they probably wouldn't have wanted to give you a red cent. So you know what? I'll say that about Republicans. It's all about big business there. Is honestly not really a good thing because it ends up being more about what's in their pocket, not about the American people. So I'll give you that. But if you're going to tell me that Obama was the reason our economy is doing how it was when Trump took over, that's absolutely ignorance. You can go back if you like, and I'm not going to tell you that Obama was the main cause because JJ just made all those points about exactly what caused that recession to begin with. But if you're going to tell me that Obama, who just sat back and played golf his entire presidency, had anything to do with our economy getting better and getting to the point where it is now, then that's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, and you know what? Dylan Glass, I will challenge your courage right now. I'm posting it right now. Here is the link to the stream. You want to come on? We'll be more than happy to discuss it with you.
People, Eric, too, it's funny because, the media is so corrupt. And I'm not just saying that. I know that that's become like a popular talking point, but I really do mean it. During the 8 years of the Obama administration, the mainstream media, they were his biggest cheerleader. He could do no wrong. They protected him. They defended him. They coddled him. With President Trump, they constantly viciously attack him and try to tear him down and turn him out to be a monster, make him into a villain, without actually even going into what he's accomplished and what he's done. If I were to tell even, like, for example, people in my own family, I have, some really, really insane, psychotic, radical left-wing lunatics in my family. If I were to tell them, if I were to go down a long list of all the executive orders that President Trump has signed since his first year in office up until now and all the pieces of legislation that have been signed in by his administration, they probably would have no idea that any of that even got written into law because the media just won't cover it accurately. I'll give you one quick example of this. President Trump is often said to be a sexist, as if, he is apparently anti-woman. But early on in his first year, he signed an executive order incentivizing and encouraging companies, corporations in STEM fields to hire more women. Now, was that even reported by CNN? Was that reported by any of the mainstream news networks? No, of course not. None of these executive orders that he has signed into law that have been, for the greater good and the benefit of our country have ever been covered effectively or accurately. The media is disgusting and dishonest in a way that I have never seen. I know that George W. Bush had it bad. No president has had it this bad, and no president was protected like Obama was protected for 8 years.
Well, also, Craig Sebring brings up another great point, too, actually. He says, how about the pandemic that he says, hey, Dylan Glass, you say about the pandemic that Trump blew it. How about 60 million Americans infected by the bird flu and over 500,000 died from it?
The media shutdowns about that. How come? Where was all the masks? Make sure you bring your umbrellas out so birds don't shit on you. I just pulled that one out of my ass just to make a joke. But
well, the next comment,
umbrellas. It's mandatory umbrella wearing. You don't want your birds to shit on you. Get the bird virus. But
and Craig's next comment was, how about Obama when an American got beheaded? Obama went back to playing golf. What did Trump do? He kicked ISIS ass. I think he meant ISIS.
ISIS is basically non-existent because President Trump decided to uncuff the military and let them actually execute what they were supposed to do for all this time. He mob bombed ISIS basically into non-existence. So,
yeah, he'll actually stand up against these other countries. What's Obama want to do? I apologize to the American people. Blah 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 blah. Get up there, just. There is nothing about Obama that says leader at all. Seriously. Now, look at countries like, and I'm not here to tell you Putin is a good guy, but because he's not. And I'm not on here to say I like Putin, but guys like Putin and all these other countries, they have strong leaders.
Yeah, you can be a leader but not be likable.
But in America, our definition of what we want a leader to be is just someone who sits back and says all the things that you want to hear. That's exactly what the problem is. That's the problem with the voters we have, and that's a good thing that we have the Electoral College. I'm not saying it's perfect, but we should have something to where, like, if the popular vote is more like the potato vote, that we need to have some people to step in and say no to the potatoes. And,
the Electoral College is extremely important. The Electoral College is extremely important.
Anyone who thinks the Electoral College is going to prop up Joe Biden and Joe Sandusky and Kamala Harris, if anyone thinks that they're going to prop those two up, they're smoking something really good, and I want some of it.
Yeah, well, the point of the Electoral College is that, the voices are heard, in the so-called flyover states. It balances the power of the coasts. So that way New York and California and Illinois don't pick the president every single election cycle.
Well, speaking of which, when you look at have you guys ever seen Walter's out, so it's back to the three of us. Thank you for joining us, Walter, if you're out. And your mom's back, Eric, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. And She makes a great point when they try to say he was making fun of handicapped people. They've done this so many times, and people absolutely do no fact checking. Oh, and by the way, Dylan Glass has not joined the live stream. Big surprise.
I offered him. You guys saw it. I put the link right there for him to join. Probably doesn't want to be seen, but yeah. And by the way, welcome back, Eric's mom. You were awesome before, and you're still awesome. But have you guys ever seen the maps of the individual states and how they voted, like by county to county? Notice how it's always primarily red, except for in the areas where the major cities are. That's why we have an electoral college.
Right.
Like you said, JJ, we can't have California, Illinois, and New York dictating the election every 4 years.
It would be every 4 years. It would be picked by those three states if we didn't have some type of balance to keep it all in check. Because then my vote here in Ohio wouldn't mean it. It would be meaningless.
Yeah, exactly.
Why vote? If New York City and LA are going to pick, and Chicago to a certain degree, not as much, but mostly New York and LA are going to pick the president every year or every election cycle.
Anyway, I'm going to sign off, but I'm going to leave with some parting words here. I hope that people like Dylan Glass one day choose to educate themselves and actually see the facts. And Trump's not perfect, and Republicans certainly aren't perfect. There's a lot of bad aspects about Republican beliefs, but when you're looking at these far left, radical left wingers and the things that they want to do, and the things in their 1,800-page bullshit that they want to do, and these stimulus checks, it's ridiculous. It's all about politicizing. What do windmills, Planned Parenthood, and any of this other bullshit have to do with the coronavirus that apparently is killing so many people? It has absolutely nothing to do with it, and they've done absolutely not one thing that the Democratic Party has done has had anything to do with America. It has all to do with hating Trump, and literally everything has been about hating Trump. They've gotten on there and acted like a bunch of little children who just had their Xbox taken away.
Well, and also, I know I said this on the last live stream, but I'm not one who really plays a lot into conspiracy theories, but I just can't say this enough. I find it so ironic that everything that's going on right now, COVID-19, the George Floyd situation, which in turn leads to the resurgence of Black Lives Matter, it's so ironic that it just happens to be an election year that all this stuff happens. Guess
what? They're still gonna fail. But anyway, that's all I have to say. It's right here. And we're gonna make liberals cry again. It's gonna happen. They're gonna be on there. They're gonna be pissed, and we are gonna be laughing about it.
And real quick,
all night long, I'm gonna be decked out. I'm gonna be decked out in my Trump gear as if I was heading out to an SU game.
And real quick, Eric, before you go, your mom called me a kiss ass. Do you think that's true?
What does she mean? I'm a kiss ass for what? What is?
I just said she was a cool person earlier. She must think I'm kissing.
Oh no, she's messing with you. She's messing.
Well, I'm messing back as well.
Yeah, she's just messing around. That's what she does. But anyway, take care, everybody. It was really great talking to you guys.
Hey, till next time. Like I said, we can make this a weekly thing if you want it to.
Yes, that sounds good. Maybe it would be nice to have Walter on. Hopefully he can find some better equipment so that way we can actually hear what he's saying.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm looking to invest in a mic myself. So, well, now Big Vol Daddy shows up.
Oh, Big Vol Daddy, I'm sorry I'm leaving. I'll be here sometime. I'll probably be here next week too, though. But I gotta get to bed because I've got my girlfriend's been here the entire time, and I want to make sure I'm giving her attention too because
was that her
family friend? Yeah, a family friend once gave me some very good advice, and she's obviously not my wife, but he told me, he said, a happy wife is a happy life.
Yes.
So you know what? I got to make sure that I have a happy life. So I got to let you go.
All right, Eric. Well, peace out. And, God bless, buddy.
Take care.
See you later, boss.
Yeah. So anyway, JJ, I'm going to be calling it quits here pretty soon because, like I said earlier, I gotta.
Yeah.
I still have to eat dinner yet, and I got to be up at 5. And hey, hold on, baby, don't take off just yet. You want to come on for a few minutes? We're not calling it. When I said calling it quits, I'm not meaning in like the next 2 minutes.
Come on, BBD, get on. I haven't watched a BBD video in like ages, since 2012, literally.
Here, BBD, there's a link for you if you want to come and join us.
To be honest, I didn't even know that he was still making videos.
Oh, yes. BBD has been going strong. And actually, Ben and I just had him on our show, The Two Irish Brothers.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
But yeah,
it's a shame Tennessee's so mediocre.
Oh, now if he comes on, he's really going to let you have it for saying that.
Yeah, well, let's put him up. I've been fired up all night. We've been talking politics, man. I'm ready to rock. Yeah, I know that guy. Tennessee has a decent program. They're I kind of feel for them a little bit because they used to be one of those. They used to have a really good program, and then it just kind of slid away over the years.
Well, I was telling BVD this in a private conversation, but I think a lot of their struggles were related to Kiffin bailing on them.
It's part of it. Yeah, I could definitely see that. They didn't make any good coaching hires after that. I mean, Derek Dooley, that was atrocious. I mean, he was a disaster. I remember that. Because there was another Tennessee YouTuber. I don't remember. Now this again dates me a little bit. But
Bill for balls?
No, it might have been. I don't remember. He went on a radio show, an Alabama radio show, and made like a prediction about Tennessee beating them. He was a younger. I think he had to have been around maybe my age, maybe a little bit younger. I don't remember, but like he was really funny. I liked him. But yeah, he made this really long Derek Dooley type rant. It was hilarious. And then they hired Butch Jones, which wasn't the worst hire, but I mean, you know, it's tough to win in the SEC. It's tough to win in college football in general, but in the SEC, it's extremely difficult. You're in the toughest conference in all of college football. I still believe the SEC is the best. They are the truly elite of all of college football. And, you know, I mean, it's just tough to break through. You know, Tennessee is sort of stuck in that 8-4, not even 9, more like 7-5, 8-4 rut. And it's been that way for a few years now.
Well, and we were talking about this on me and Ben's show when we had BVD on. I mean, they had a real rough start to the season last year. I mean, losing to a team that only had a football program in existence for 10 years, and then they go on a 5-6 game win streak, which no other team in college football did, and they end up, winning the Gator Bowl, which, you know, Ben and I have talked about this many times with the bowl games and whatnot, and which ones are prestigious, but I digress on that. But all I'm saying is the Gator Bowl, that's a trophy that I would be proud to have in my trophy case if I was an athletic director or a coach.
Yeah, it's a solid bowl game. They beat Indiana. Indiana was decent. You know, Tennessee they have a decent program. They're kind of like how we were, you know, back when BK first got brought in. They're kind of in that phase one of rebuilding and building that program back up. You know, I mean, it's just tough to win in the SEC. They're loaded with talent. You know, when Georgia, Florida, Alabama, of course, and LSU and Auburn to a certain extent are just dominating the recruiting. And they're just loaded with talent and depth, and they can just outplay you and wear you down just because of the sheer volume of players they can throw out there. It's tough to win in that. It is. But I did see that Tennessee managed to get the number one quarterback, I think, right? Didn't they land one of the top 5, maybe? He was a 5-star.
That's what I thought too. I forget his name, but I remember hearing that as well.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, how's it going, dude? We're still going to be on for, I don't know, probably another 10 minutes or so. So we got time to talk this time around.
The more the merrier, my friend.
Yeah. I know. I know Eric doesn't mind him, but I'm really happy about that. So far, only one douchebag that shows up tonight. I'm happy about that. I'm impressed.
Does that happen often? Like every time you have a stream, are you getting that? Like, are they just bombarding you with bullshit?
Well, when I was going through my thing with Uncle Lou.
Oh God!
Like I said, it wasn't because of football. It was because he took personal shots at me.
Gotcha.
There was a Saturday afternoon where I was doing a live stream, and I didn't know this, but apparently he was doing a live stream as well. He sent all of his viewers to come bombard my channel and, you know, throw nasty shots at me and whatnot. Not everybody did. There were some cool people who did show up. But not everyone since then. There's been some that have had quite a number of idiots. Some not all. So I can't say every single live stream that I've done has had those kinds of people. But it's like, don't you guys have anything else better to do than screw with me, who is virtually a nobody in the vlogging world?
Yeah, I mean, some people are just relentless. They don't have anything better to do. They're just out being idiots just to be an idiot. You know, unfortunately, that's just how it is.
Well, and the thing is, if it's true what Dwayne is telling me, and it's Lou himself using all these accounts, then, you know, that guy just needs to really start letting stuff go. And And Big Vol Daddy told me that apparently I don't really know a whole lot about Lou personally, and I really honestly don't care to, but apparently he has a big problem with letting things go with anybody that he gets into a feud with.
Really? Okay. Well, that's childish. So yeah, that's immature. You got to know how to handle and conduct yourself in a more professional and proper manner. Live and let learn. Life should be short.
And to be fair, that applies to me too. I have to learn to conduct myself in a certain way when dealing with people like that guy that showed up earlier. I don't always handle it the best, but I try.
No, you do. I think you do pretty well with it. I considering you probably get it, more often than you would like, you're kind of immune to it now. You're kind of bulletproof in a way.
Well, the Michigan State incident back in 2009, that definitely helped with the immunity aspect of it. And
man, Sean, that takes me way back, buddy. That was you and I rode through that together almost. I had your back. That was really a wild time. I remember that.
Well, and it's just the thing is, I just, even to this day, almost a little over 10 years later, which doesn't seem real.
Doesn't that sound crazy?
I know. I mean, I was in my 20s when I started doing this thing, and
right
in my mid 30s now. It's crazy. Right. But I just could never believe that. I ended up deleting the videos as part of a deal that one of their users who helped me out. But I never thought a joke, even though it was the comedy in it was very poor. I admit that. I could never believe that a joke trash talk video would spark so many people to do the stuff that they did and actually, hack social media that I had, make fun of a deceased relative, try to screw with my livelihood in my workplace.
Yeah. Well, to the best of my memory, though, I only remember, from that time frame, like in terms of the videos you were making, the only negative thing that I remember hearing you say about Michigan State was that their fans were classless assholes. Was that what they took so seriously?
Yeah, the one where I said that they were classless assholes. I made up a story about something that never happened at South Bend involving some Michigan State fans, but it's kind of a half truth though, because the game that I was talking about, it was when they beat us in 2007. I was there for that one. Nobody did anything to me. But I did see a lot of their fans running up in people's faces and just shooting their mouths off at them. People who weren't even saying anything, So that part was a fact. And another part that was a fact was when we were at the library at Touchdown Jesus waiting for the shuttle bus to go back to our parking lot. There were a couple of people in front of us, a Notre Dame fan, a State fan, that were getting into a very heated verbal argument. And I'm like, man, what the hell's going on up there? Because I'm with my brother, a friend of ours, and my mother. Mm-hmm. And so we're looking at this heated argument going on, and I'm like, what is that going on? What's going on up there? And my mother says, must be a Michigan State fan that's starting it. And this old Michigan State fan, which I'm guessing he was like in his mid-50s, he said, "Excuse me, lady, who won this game?" And she's like, I'm not tired. And she's like, I'm not talking to you. He's like, who won the game, lady? Almost getting in her face, not quite, but I step in. I'm like, back off, dude, or I will knock you on your ass.
Oh yeah,
so that story is true. That one is.
But he was saying made no sense, as if that had any relevance to what you guys were even talking about.
No,
what is that?
We're talking about two guys ahead of us,
right? Like, what does that have to do with winning the game? Who won the game? Sit your old ass down. My God, man, people are.
Well, the real sickening part though with the whole message board ordeal is when I did find out who some of the people on that page were, when I found out their real identities.
Sure. Yeah.
And this is where I like to think that I do show some class, because I could have easily given out their names. Not that I have the hugest following in the world, but I could have given out their names, where they work, phone numbers. Now, I didn't have their personal addresses or credit card numbers or phone numbers or anything like that.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
One guy was well, he still is. He's a lawyer in the Chicagoland area, but that's not the disturbing part. The real disturbing part is when I found out from looking at his lawyer page, he has his biography on there, all the stuff that he's involved with. I mean, this guy he taught kids at his church. He was in their youth program. He headed their youth program. He was a Eucharistic minister in his church.
Oh, wow.
And then on top of that, he was also a member of the Knights of Columbus.
Oh, really? Okay.
And the Knights of Columbus story gets better. But I'm thinking, wow, this guy is doing this, calling me all sorts of horrible names, mocking my brother who passed away. And it makes me wonder, like, how would you like it if you lost somebody and you had to bury a child, especially that? I mean, they don't think what it's like for a parent to bury a child, and I've seen my parents do it, and it sucks.
Yeah, no, that's truly sickening, and that's a below the belt shot that shows, just a lack of any kind of morality and the decay of, empathy. And people are insane. There's no other way to put it than people are totally insane. They're just so disgusting in which they take, something. Like if somebody were to say like Notre Dame fans are this or that, I would not lose any sleep over it. I really wouldn't care.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't care because I know the majority of Notre Dame fans are not like that. We actually have consistently one of the nicest, most welcoming fan bases to any away, team coming in for an away game. But I mean, like, I wouldn't care if somebody were to just do, a little funny, honest trash talk about our fan base. It wouldn't affect me in any way. I could really care less.
I think that shit's funny. I love that shit.
Yeah, right. But to take it to that extreme, to get your employer and to go with your family, that is just so uncalled for and just horrible.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I would have been safe with the work aspect of it because the place that I was working at the time, it's not like you call a place and they're like, hello, this, whatever. No, you have to like know the extension number and all that stuff. So I would have been fine there. But what I was going to say with the Knights of Columbus aspect with this one guy, this is the only thing that I did get involved with where I contacted somebody. I contacted this guy's personal chapter that he was a part of. It was in the Chicagoland area. Sure. And I told the Grand, not the Grand, is it the Grand Knight or the Head Knight? I forget the ranks, but I think it was the Grand Knight is the top guy. Mm-hmm. But I contacted the Grand Knight of I almost said Grand Wizard. And I'm like, that's KKK.
Yeah, way different, way different.
Yeah. But I contacted the Grand Knight of his chapter, and I told him like, hey, this guy is doing this to you, or this guy is doing this. I found out he's representing your chapter. I thought you guys might like to know about this, and I gave him his name. I gave his name to him, and they had a couple of different talks with this guy, and they told him to stop doing what he was doing because it was terrible and it was making them look bad. Right. And this guy quits the Knights of Columbus chapter just so he can keep talking shit towards me.
God, he has his priorities backwards. How childish and immature some people are. It's just no lengths people will go. Their true colors show, and they just. Oh my God, nothing ceases to amaze me anymore. But man, I remember that, man. Like all the back in the day, you were telling me about all of what was going on. And I was shocked at that time. I was 19 years old to learn what you were dealing with these people on a day-to-day basis. It's insane. It was totally insane.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, I never thought anything online would bother me like that. But
yeah,
when you realize that these are actually real people behind keyboards that are typing this stuff, it's not just, it becomes more than just online stuff. It becomes more than just a game. I mean, this got bad. I mean, it turns out it wasn't as big as I thought it was. It's because I asked the guy, I'm like, listen, man, you got to be straight with me. Is this something that's, spread all over the Michigan State campus? I mean, am I going to see cutouts of my head on game day if they're there, that kind of thing. And the guy's like, no, it's not as big as you think. It looks big, but it's not. So I was really relieved to hear that.
What do you mean when you said you struck a deal with the head of the message board? What do you mean by that?
Well, no, well, not the head of the message board. That was probably the wrong terminology. What I mean by that is I had somebody on that message board who had a conscience. He contacted me on YouTube when YouTube still had a messaging service where you could, private message everybody.
Direct message. I remember that. Yeah.
I don't think they have that anymore.
I don't think so. No.
But he messaged me on there, and this is where I first found out what was going on, because I didn't even know what the Red Cedar message board was at this point in time.
Right.
So he told me about it. He told me what was going on. I'm like, oh, holy shit. Because you remember when I did that video, those views, the view count exploded literally overnight.
I remember.
Because I'm like, what the hell? Because at that point in time, it just that didn't happen. I was lucky if I was getting like 40 views a video. Because for 2 weeks straight that video had been up, it only had like 40 or 50 views on it. And then overnight it explodes up to like to 5,000 or 6,000 somewhere in there. And so this guy tells me about it in this message, and I'm like, okay, I got my answer to where all the view traffic is coming from. So what he did, he told me was, he's like, listen, you've already got bombarded enough, Sean. You're going to get even more bombarded if we don't stop this. If you take the videos that you posted down, I will make sure I will see to it personally that all these posts and threads about you get deleted.
Right.
That's what I mean when I strike a deal.
Gotcha. Did anybody from any of the Notre Dame message boards like have your back at all about this at all, or in any way, or
no?
Really?
Believe it or not, dude, there are some Notre Dame message boards that they probably forgotten all about me, but they weren't too fond of me either. Like UHND, those guys couldn't stand me. At least, no, not all of them, but a certain part of them on there.
Yeah.
I didn't get along too well with some guys on one called Domer Domain. And I'm thinking there was another one. But no, with UHND, and I'm not bad-mouthing them because, it's a good site for news. But
that's a good source for news. Yeah, I agree. They're very good with that. Yeah.
It's when you get into their message boards that it becomes a problem. This is where things got awful.
Yeah.
Do you remember Matt James, that recruit that we lost to that accident in spring break in 2011, I think it was 2010 or 2011?
I do. Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
I made a video paying my respects to his family and saying, I'm sorry for your loss. And I know how that goes. I've been through it. Just doing a nice thing, or so I thought. But then it ended up on UHND, and so many of their viewers said some of the most nastiest things you could think of, that I was doing it for money, that I was trying to just attach myself on to the top news at the time. Just all these horrible accusations. And I'm telling you one thing, if I've made any money from doing YouTube, I'm still waiting for the check.
Yeah, right. This is always, as I've known you for a while now, obviously, and you've done it for fun, hobby. That's literally been it.
If opportunities come, I'll take it, of course.
Oh yeah, but that's uncalled for. That people got again upset about that when you were honestly just paying some sympathy and rightfully so to the family. It's just a sad, very awful, sad situation. What happened? I remember that. It was very, very, very sad. And I don't know why people just they take something that you did like that and they just blow it up into something that it just doesn't need to be.
I was trying to be kind and just because hey, he was. That Matt James had officially become a part of the Notre Dame family.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
People were saying that I only cared that he died because he was a good football player. I'm like, football be damned. This is a young man who had his whole life ahead of him. So what?
Yeah.
Okay. And like, no, would I have known about him if he didn't play football? No, probably not.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
But regardless of the situation, what does it hurt to be nice to the family? And
yeah, you made a nice little video, and apparently a lot of people took it in a way that was totally uncalled for. But
and also,
again,
Well, also, I found out that the guys on UHND, the ones who were doing all the bad mouthing, they were a part of some. It's another Notre Dame message board. It's called I think either Irishhammer or Valhammer.com.
Okay.
Some fan created board.
Sure. Yeah.
20 or 30 guys on there. They were the ones who started rolling with it. And what I did to piss them off, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But Domer Domain, not trying to just switch off from UHND, but Domer Domain, I think what irritated them was that when my buddy Shamrock Jerry and I were really promoting the flying the Irish flag at Notre Dame thing, I think we probably overdid it, and it just annoyed them.
What do you mean? What were they annoyed about that for?
Because we posted about it too much and tried to get backing for it, and how this is what we're trying to do would be so awesome, and I think they just got sick and tired of hearing about it too much.
But, yeah, that isn't typically something that would bother me. I mean, but then again, some people are, they get bothered by a lot of different things that I wouldn't get bothered by.
And what I've noticed that too, especially with message boards and just online in general, that's where a lot of people use, like if they're having a bad day, that's where they take it out.
Sure. Yeah, I can imagine that.
It's easy to type on a message board. Let's face it. You can say whatever you want. You're angry, you're frustrated if it's been a bad day.
Yeah. You could be totally anonymous and just vent and just air your frustration and your grievances out online, and you can say whatever you want without any kind of like actual repercussions, Yeah,
because any of these people in the comment section, like, I mean, Brian, cold as Brian, I'm sorry to use you as an example, dude, but he could be a complete freaking asshole. But and he could say whatever he wants to me. I want to punch him in the face, but I can't because, well, he's on either a keyboard or a phone, and I'm here. I know it's not you, Brian. I know it's not you, but I also didn't want you to think that I was ignoring you either, because I am seeing your comments here. And Brian, you say that the only ND people you follow are 1 Foot Down, me, and Pete Sampson. One Foot Down had an insane article recently about changing our name. I think wasn't it 1 Foot Down? I think it was. Slap
the sign. Oh, that was Slap the Sign. Okay, my apologies. I don't want to get those misconstrued or mixed up. One of them had some kind of insane, asinine, just take on Notre Dame changing the Fighting Irish nickname.
Oh, I know the writer's name, Daniel Morrison. Oh,
was he just like a beat writer, pretty much? Is that who he is?
I don't know who he is, but I read the same article too. I even did a video on it with Jerry, because I'm like, yeah, all right, you think the Fighting Irish is an offensive name? Well, here's what an actual Irish thinks of it, and thinks of. Oh, you're
right. Yeah, right.
But I'm like,
am I good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, all right.
But I had Jerry on, and I'm like, Jerry, as a native Irishman born and raised, you live there, you have the accent, everything. What do you think of it? Do you hate the name, or do you find it offensive? He's like, oh no, Sean, I love this name. I love it. And we talked for a good 25 minutes about that on a video. The video's horribly out of sync because I didn't have a good program.
Right. Well, you could go. I heard who in the media also made that same argument a while back about Notre Dame. That's right. Yeah. Max Kellerman. I almost forgot about him. Yeah, he said he made a statement one time about it that when this was really first started kind of in its infancy, like changing names, and he said, well, even if it only offends a few, that's enough evidence to me that the name should be changed. And I think that creates a slippery slope of where does it end and where does it stop? Because anybody could be offended by any name. Somebody could have been bit by a bulldog when they were 4 years old, and they could say, well, you know what, I find the name the Georgia Bulldogs offensive, or so on and so forth. So that could snowball. And then you get into this ridiculous game of, this upsets me, this bothers me. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I just don't understand where this ends. And
now these libtard lunatics, they finally get their wish, and the Washington Redskins drop their name mainly because Dan Snyder's a pussy and can't handle the heat. And here in Dan Snyder's only, I'll step up from it only in this one aspect, is that
money. Yeah, because all the sponsors were going to pull out on him, and he would have no leg to stand on at that point. I don't think that he wanted to change it, obviously. I mean, I think if he had more resources to fight against it, he would have. But the Washington football team, I commented on that in a previous stream. How ridiculous is that?
Very, very ridiculous.
Yeah,
You know what's funny about that? I hear that the Redskins are now going with the possibly naming themselves the Sentinels now. So I'm like, really? Are you really going to go the replacements route? Shane Falco?
But I think you mentioned this in your other live stream, though. Wasn't there like somebody like in the DC area that had all these names like, trademarked or something like that? Like,
yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, a bunch of names like Red Hawks and I think he had Red Tails. I could be wrong, but yeah, he had a bunch of these basic names just copyrighted because I think he knew this could have eventually happened, which unfortunately it did.
Yeah, and when of course worst case scenario now they're the Washington football team.
I mean, it's just like I don't know what JJ what you thought about that, but whenever I heard Redskins, first off, I always thought a football team. I never thought Indians being red-skinned. And also when I did my research, I always thought that they were called Redskins because of wearing red war paint when they went into battle, which is a fact they did.
Yeah, that's what I was under the impression too. I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion on it. I'm not a Washington fan, so I mean, they got to do what they got to do. I'm not a sports fan of any DC Washington team. So
no, same here. It's like you were starting to say earlier. I mean, where is it going to end? I mean, what are they going to go for next? I mean, I heard people are going after the Texas Rangers baseball team now because that's offensive. Or
somehow, some way. Which isn't that just a branch of the law enforcement or some sort in Texas?
Yeah. Well, with the anti-police stuff going on, they're gonna fight for it now.
Yeah, there's plenty of the anti-police. There's a lot of that going on right now. Unfortunately, it's very sad. And you and I have talked about that, before in a previous live stream with what's going on with our law enforcement and the destruction. I mean, look what happened in Chicago again with all the. There's even more. It's more chaos now than it has been in a while. Well, I mean, I think didn't the mayor make a statement about it? It got so bad that like Chicago's mayor actually came out and made a statement about like, hey, there needs to be some now serious consequences for all this or something along those lines.
Their mayor Lori Lightfoot, she actually looks like a cross between Don King and Beetlejuice.
Lori Lightfoot, she's interesting. She's definitely and then the police chief made a comment too, right? Like something like, "Well, we've had no consequences for anything that's happened." Like basically,
Lori Lightfoot, she's at first said that she doesn't want, Donald Trump bringing in
federal forces,
forces or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like, well, you refuse it. This is going to keep happening then,
right? Yeah, exactly.
And the funny thing is, this is what I've taught. I'm not trying to just jump topics here or anything like that, but, this is something that I never hear the BLM crowd talk about. Is the black on black crime and the black on black murders. What about their lives?
Yeah, it's very hypocritical. It really is, unfortunately. I mean, if you're going to say Black Lives Matter, then you have to take into account other serious issues that are unrelated to, police brutality and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you have to account for everything. So
the only time I ever got an answer on that retort was, well, did you ever, in any stream that I've done recently, did you hear me say that I actually had a back and forth with a former Notre Dame football player?
You know what I did? I briefly caught that. I think you might have said that on the last stream. I was driving though.
That's right. I knew you said you were driving. I just wasn't sure if you heard that part. But yeah, I'm not going to say who it was, but Jerry and I went back and forth with him for a couple weeks because I brought this on myself because I became friends with him on Facebook, and I just every day he was posting basically BLM this, BLM that, more or less white man evil, white man bad, black people always victims, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so he was posting it every single day.
Every day, literally every day. And one day, I forget what it was, but he posted something so absurd that I finally had to say something. And see, the reason I associated with this guy is because Ben and I were hoping to get him on our show as a guest.
Okay. Yeah.
And so,
hey Sean, real quick, are we talking like an old school player or somebody late 90s?
Late 90s.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, continue.
Maybe I'll tell you. Oh, now we got the troll popping in. Hey, Dwayne, if you're still here, is this one of his names that he's using? Is this one of Lou's accounts? But no, this is a player from the late 90s. I very well remember watching him. So, and I'll try to keep this short, but Jerry and I, it started off with just me and this guy, this player.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was making, reasonable arguments because I told him straight up that, hey, black people are not the only ones who have ever been slaves. Okay. White Irish people were slaves in this land as well. But the history books get around it by calling them indentured servants, which is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. You're either a slave or you're not.
Right.
It's not like they were getting room and board or treated well,
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
It was no different than slavery. It really wasn't. And so I'd make these arguments. He wouldn't even acknowledge it.
He'd just gloss over it. Yeah.
His only response was, "Oh, give me a book to read by a scholar." And I gave this guy links to books that he could read, YouTube videos talking about this, all sorts of shit. He wouldn't even acknowledge it. But then I contact my buddy Jerry, and I'm like, Jerry, listen, I need your help on this because you're a native Irishman born and raised. So I get him in touch with the guy, and at first he started taking Jerry serious, but then that quickly died off, and then he kicked Jerry to the curb. So if he's not willing to listen to a native Irishman, then that just shows you this guy's education level.
Right. Yeah, I try to go into every argument with an open mind. I mean, I'm willing to, see all sides of the argument and, to take in experiences, from what other people have gone through. I mean, I'm open. I mean, I'm not, closed off, and I'm not so set in my ways, but I also do not like arguing emotion over logic. And that is where I draw the line, because you know what? If I coldly and clearly state a fact, and if you're offended by the fact, that's not me being offensive. That's you just refusing to accept reality and truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and this guy, another thing that he told me that was really disappointing was that I only had at that point in time, only a couple months ago, I only had 2 black friends on my Facebook page in addition to him. Well, did it ever occur to this guy that maybe all the black people that I know don't necessarily have social media?
Yeah, well,
not everybody, believe it or not, in this day and age, not everybody has social media.
Yeah, I took a break from it for a while because it was so toxic. I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's and there's always something toxic on there every day.
Well, I'll be honest with you, the worst is Twitter. I think I don't. Twitter to me is probably the worst in terms of for social media, in terms of just how the anonymous accounts and people they'll get their account banned or deleted and they'll just make a new one, and some of the vile, nasty, just. I mean, like we were talking about the other day, when you had your other live stream on Twitter, a 17-year-old high school student athlete choosing to play at Notre Dame. And then, of course, a fan from the rival school that didn't like this young man's choice, as if it had anything to do with this loser, makes a comment, he throws a tweet out there about something, completely unrelated to this young man's commitment to Notre Dame.
Sullivan, right?
Yeah, and it was horrible. I was appalled to see that. I couldn't believe that somebody would stoop to that point and just make such a sickening, disgusting, type of tweet. again, at a student athlete who all he is doing is just making a decision for what he feels is going to be best for him in his future, playing at Notre Dame. Rocco, well, I don't want to say his name. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter now, right?
Yeah, it's all right. It's public knowledge.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying. I just feel bad. I feel bad because he's an excellent player, and just from what I've seen, he's a fine young man. And he made a promise to his grandfather he wanted to play at Notre Dame. So and
also it's like Michigan could have stopped recruiting him too. All these other schools could have stopped recruiting him. I mean, when it all comes down to it, is you can only pick one anyway. So what the hell does it matter?
Right. But to go on this young man's Twitter and to say what he said, and it just was so disturbing. I mean, it serves no purpose or point, and to say it to a young student athlete like that is just what purpose does that serve? And
also to disrespect the Sullivan family too, who lost their son in a tragic accident.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean,
what does that have to do with this kid being recruited to play football?
Right, exactly. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a game, and it's like, my God, can you people just stop being insane for 2 seconds? I mean, I just don't understand. And then somebody tweeted about 45-14, from the game last season, and then somebody else tweeted, a Notre Dame fan was like, well, we beat you 24-17 in 2018, so we're 1-1 in the series against Jim Harbaugh, so it doesn't really matter, does it, or something like that. And again, they started going in on a Brian Kelly and, he's incompetent. Look what happened under his watch. And they started naming like tragedy after, whatever. And it got out of hand and I just couldn't handle it anymore. I'm like, all right, man, like I have to get off Twitter for a little while. This is crazy.
Well, also what's really ridiculous too is these people, they also say like, oh, he was crap anyway. Well, if he was so much crap, if he was so crappy, why'd you want him so bad?
Wait, somebody said Rocco Spindler was crap? Is that
they said, oh, he's not going to amount to anything anyway. He's garbage. He's one of
the top offensive linemen in the country.
Well, they're just saying like, oh, well, he's probably going to. They said he's probably going to be crap anyway, so it's probably best that we didn't get him. Yeah, you're just saying that because you didn't get him.
Yeah, that's totally insane. That's totally insane. Sean, I was actually at the Michigan-Notre Dame game last season in the pouring rain and the downpour up in Ann Arbor. I went there. My best friend is a Michigan fan, and he and I get along obviously great, so there's no problem. But, I mean, like, we were up there, and, my brother was there too. And, like, my brother kind of has a bit of a mouth on him sometimes. And I remember somebody said something about Brian Kelly or something. They were just shouting or chanting a Michigan fan. And then my brother very loudly at a group of Michigan fans shouts, at least our coach doesn't have slumber parties with high school kids. And everybody just spun around and stared at us real quick. And I was like, Jake, my brother, I was like, this game hasn't even started yet. We got 4 quarters of this. And then, of course, we got railroaded. And I was like, let's just go. Let's just get out of here at the halftime.
Hey, Colin Smith, when you start getting nasty like that, I'm not going to listen to that garbage.
What did he say?
This Colin Smith, this is the second account he created. I mean, Mike, does it take more time than just 5 seconds to create an account, or do you think these guys come in with a game plan?
They probably have some sense of idea of what they're going to do,
Well, I challenged this guy's courage earlier. I gave him the link to come join the show, and he wouldn't do it. So who is it that can't take the heat, Colin? I gave you the link to come join the show. So who is it that can't take the heat? Who's the pussy? That'd be you.
Oh, so you threw him the link out there? Oh yeah, that was from earlier.
Here, I'll do it again right now. Here's the link, Colin. Come on the show.
Jeez, I'm just kind of now catching up on the comments. I haven't actually looked at them too much.
Yeah. Same here. I mean, Craig, Brian, we're seeing your comments. Don't think we're ignoring you, but we figured you guys were liking the conversation. But yeah, so you were talking about leaving, and what were we talking about?
No, it was just funny when my brother shouted that and everybody was just staring at us. I mean, it is kind of strange. I do have a lot of respect for Jim Harbaugh, though. I do, and I mean that sincerely in terms of what he has said in defense of being pro-life and his faith. And I do, from that standpoint, I have a lot of respect for him. I do think he's a little bit of a weirdo. If I'm being totally honest, I think he's a very strange guy. I mean, like it is weird to stay at a high school recruit, like a high school football player's house. I think that's a little bit strange.
You're a little old for sleepovers. That's true.
It's extremely strange. I know it was just a recruiting trick or a recruiting tactic, but it's very odd. But I do have a lot of respect for him that he stepped up and he said what he said in terms of like being pro-life.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch.
What did he say? He said something else that was criticized, I think, for being like conservative. I think I don't remember, or I know I just based on what Jim Harbaugh has probably said. I'm chances are I know he's Catholic, and I know like he was very happy when he went to the Vatican. So I do. There's a lot about Jim Harbaugh that I do like, but there is some things about him that I think are extremely weird.
Well, the thing is, I don't know any of these college coaches. I can't really blame them if they're all weird to some degree, because these guys are constantly working. Constantly on the road, recruiting and all that stuff, benefits and charity work and stuff like that in the off season, making the appearances and all that.
Nonstop go.
A part of me can't blame them if it doesn't drive them a little bit crazy.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just, but like I heard a story about Jim Harbaugh one time, like recruiting, and he walked into a recruit's house wearing cleats and then refused to take them off when the recruit's mother asked him to take them off. It was a very awkward, like, who does that? That's very strange. I
remember it was funny as hell when Brady Hoke was still coaching at Michigan and he fell asleep on some recruit's couch. then that recruit took a picture of him. No, this gets better. That recruit took a picture of him and said, "Hey, look," he posted it on Twitter and said, "Hey, look, everybody, Brady Hoke is sleeping on my couch."
What in the hell? I did not know that was even a real story. Oh my God.
It actually happened.
Hey, Sean, I've always been meaning to ask you, man, because you and I are two nostalgic Notre Dame fans. We go back to the days of you started doing videos at the tail end of the Charlie Weiss era. Yeah. What were your thoughts on why that went wrong, the Charlie Weiss experiment? It had so much promise and potential.
That's a good question. I mean, I would say for starters, and there's a few different reasons, I think. One, he was always able to put together a phenomenal offense, but he couldn't be consistent on both sides of the ball.
Right.
So he always had a great offense, but not always the best defenses. And 2007 showed that.
Yeah, that's true.
But then another thing too is Charlie also, and I know I'm not the only one who said this, but I believe it. I think Charlie was thinking that he was thinking too much that he could treat these kids like they were already NFL players.
I heard that.
And he forgets that these are just college kids. They're not professionals, There are two different mindsets between a college player and an NFL player. So it would be easy to just transition from the NFL to college, and it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, and I heard that, not that I have any like insider information or anything like that, but I heard that like he was very like way too like buddy with the players, and there was not much discipline there. I heard that was a part of the issue as well too. But again, I don't know how true that is, and I know that Brian Kelly is definitely much more of a disciplinarian when it comes to how he coaches the team.
You kind of beat me to the punch, because I never really thought that he was a player's coach. I thought, kind of like you, that he was more of a disciplinarian rather than buddy with the players. But I guess he could have been. But Craig Sebring brings up a good point. Charlie never recruited well on defense.
True. Yeah, that's true.
So that kind of goes into the fact about not having the best defenses. But also I think too that this is kind of after Weiss was gone, but Brian Kelly, when he got there, I remember an interview that he gave. I think it was an interview or something, an article, whatever. But when he got there, he said there wasn't a lot of structure. And that's what Brian Kelly did was when he got there, he put structure in place that Weiss didn't. Like it would be little things like, you're going to have your locker set up a certain way. You're going to be here at this time. You're going to do it this way. That Weiss never had. He would let his players,
Yeah. A part of me thinks that when Brian Kelly first arrived at Notre Dame, he was a little bit like overwhelmed, maybe like in over his head. He's like, I'm not, coming from Cincinnati where he won a lot of games, and to come to like Notre Dame at that time, let's face it, our program was in a bit of a dark place. Our program was a mess back then. I think that he kind of was a little bit in over his head. That's why it took a few years to really get the program up and running. That's the impression I got from the first 2 seasons of Coach Kelly at Notre Dame. Just looking back on it, if we're going to go far back, it seems like ancient history at this point, although it really wasn't all that long ago.
Well, I mean, overall, I agree with Craig here. I think if there was one thing I could have changed about the Weiss era, if he had actually put more effort into recruiting on defense, which I'm not saying he didn't bring in good players on defense. Of course he did. Mm-hmm. But as a whole, he couldn't put it all together 100%. If they had a top-notch defense to go with that offense, then he very well could still be there now. Not likely, because he probably would have taken an NFL job, but things could have been a lot different. But
could have been. Yeah, it's just funny to kind of go through the, what could have been. I always just look back at that time because I remember 2005 and 2006 being 2 really good years and just being really like, wow, this is amazing. I was like 15, 16 years old and just, we were, with the exception of a couple games we lost, we were pretty much blowing everybody out. And I was like, this is amazing. It's just kind of funny how it works. And then 2007 kind of smacked us in the face. And then from there, it was just 6-6 and 6-6. And it's like, you can't do that when your entire team is filled with 4- and 5-star talent across the board.
Yeah. And I mean, it took us 3 coaches to get it right. Cause Kelly, it took him some time to get going, but I think he's starting to really figure it out.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know people were so pissed about when Ty Willingham was there, like, oh, 5-year contract, you only let him coach 3. You're racist. No, it was because he wasn't doing well with recruiting at all. I think his first year recruiting, he only had, I think there was like 20 some odd guys in the class, and only 8 of them, if that, actually had a star in front of them.
Yeah, I think hiring Ty Willingham, I think, had a lot to do with, his background at Stanford. Like they thought like, well, if he could win there with the high academic standard and structure that's at Stanford, then he can definitely do it at Notre Dame. I think that was kind of the idea and the mindset to bring him in. Yeah, Notre Dame, unfortunately, they didn't make some of the best coaching hires, post Lou Holtz. Bob Davies seemed kind of like the lazy, easy way out because he was already on the staff. And, they, kind of, again, it's the what could have been. I do think that Notre Dame is close now to being considered an elite program. We're not there yet, but I think that we're close. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, of course, an Ohio State fan, but, he wasn't, being like insane. We were just talking, and he asked me, he said, what do you think it's going to take for Notre Dame to be able to take that next step from being a good program, a solid program, to being an elite program? And I said, well, I said, we kind of have to almost follow, like Notre Dame's in a unique position where we're not going to get like Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State and LSU and all these other, in the SEC. We're not going to load up on, 35-star, players, coming into our program every year. We're just not going to be able to do it. We're Notre Dame. Our academic standards are just too rigid. There's too many barriers and holes that hoops that we'd have to jump through to get those types of players. But I said, we're going to have to kind of go the Clemson route, because if you remember, Dabo Swinney's been at Clemson for about as long as Brian Kelly's been at Notre Dame now. And it took, I think, Dabo 5 or 6 seasons. I'm not exactly 100% sure, 5 or 6 years before he won a national championship. And the difference maker, because if you look at their recruiting classes then, they're very similar to how our recruiting classes are now. They're kind of in that 13th, 14th, 15th ranking, sort of in that. What took off is they landed a guy named Deshaun Watson. It took one elite quarterback to elevate everybody around them, and that's when they won the national championship. And that's what I'm holding out for. If we can find a truly elite quarterback, I think that's really where you're going to see it take off.
Craig Sebring brings up a good point here. We got a couple of guys. I mean, for starters, we have Drew Pine.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's on the roster right now, isn't he?
Yeah, he came early, I'm pretty sure too. Yeah.
Okay, so you have Drew Pine, and I'm not trying to overlook who's the one that's right behind Ian Book on the depth chart. What's his name?
Oh, Brendan Clark.
Brendan Clark. I'm not saying that he couldn't contend, but I think in the near future, one of the two guys you're looking at after Book would be either Drew Pine or, as Craig says here, Tyler Buckner.
Yeah, Tyler Buckner is the truth from what I keep hearing. And
granted, he didn't have a best what was it, like some all-star competition or whatever where he didn't
the Elite 11. Yeah, the Elite 11.
But it's a competition, so who cares?
Yeah, I don't really take much, into that. I mean, he's pretty much the highest ranked quarterback we've had committed since Jimmy Clausen, and you have to take into account, I'm going to kind of come off as a bit of a recruiting nerd because I follow this very closely, but Drew Pine is and I don't put a whole lot of emphasis on how many stars are at the end of a player's name. I used to get into that heavy, but I'm starting to realize more and more it's more about how you develop players. Yes, it helps to have that elite talent. Obviously, the big boys win every year with that type of talent. Yeah. But as I stated previously, Notre Dame we're not in a position to really get that. Notre Dame is a lot like Wisconsin in a lot of ways. We don't necessarily get the best players, we get the right players. It's like Kurt Russell said in the movie Miracle, I don't want the best players, I want the right players. So it's kind of like that. And so, but I mean, so we recruit very similarly to Wisconsin, I feel like, in a lot of ways like that,
There was an old basketball coach from back in the day. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
There was a basketball coach back in the day. I forget where he coached. Maybe it was Louisville. I'm not sure. But he said something similar to what Herb Brooks did.
Yeah.
He said when he would go recruit guys, he said, I don't want basketball players. I want guys who can jump. Okay? I can teach them how to play basketball.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So it's about your fit. And I think if we get our Deshaun Watson, I think that's where it starts. Because we have receivers coming in now like Jordan Johnson, Lorenzo Styles. I'm looking at Jaden Thomas. I think that's his last name now. Another 4-star receiver. Crystal Ball saying 100% Notre Dame. Looking good there.
Oh, and all these tight ends that we keep bringing in. My Lord.
Yeah, we get a ton of them too, which is awesome. We're bringing in good offensive linemen, obviously, defense. Finally, this recruiting class, I think, the good Lord above, we're getting really good DBs in the secondary, finally. We've been needing that for a long time. And the only position that's a little lacking right now, which is back sort of, but we just got Logan Diggs. He committed, and he's really good. And he's like a physical kind of power back. He's very shifty and quick. But no, when I say that I'm a recruiting nerd, Drew Pine, for example, very accurate passer, laser sharp when he throws, but I'm not like who am I? I don't know. But when I look at the level of competition that he went up against, I mean, he played in Connecticut. That's where he played high school football. And that's not a recruit. That's not a high school hotbed of recruiting or football power. So he was slicing up defenses basically, against, the competition that, most states like Texas, Ohio, Florida, California would, kind of be like, well, that's nothing. Tyler Buckner has gone up against some legit teams and has competed and has played extremely well. So that's why I'm hopeful for both, but I think I'm a little more hopeful. I think, probably for Tyler Buckner.
Yeah. Buckner definitely, I think does have the edge, but I'm just saying I wouldn't sleep on Drew Pine.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he is an accurate thrower, and Brian Kelly knows best, and he'll make the best decision. He'll make the right decision and the right move.
It's going to be a tough competition, that's for sure. But yeah, not trying to switch gears here completely. I want to finish telling you something earlier.
Yeah,
when I was telling you about my situation with the Matt James thing, getting all that backlash that I did.
Yeah,
I was feeling really down about this, but this actually made my day big time. we had a quarterback at that same time because he went to Notre Dame with his best friend, that Luke Massa, who was a quarterback. Okay. But I think he ended up playing wide receiver for us. Didn't see a lot of minutes, but I was feeling like really bad and like feeling like crap about this. So I actually reached out to him, and I'm like, hey Luke, look, I'm a stranger. I do YouTube videos talking Notre Dame football. I know you and Matt James were best friends and all that. And I hope I'm not out of line for sending you this message, but I made a video explaining the situation. I made a video expressing condolences to his family.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not asking you to watch it. Just if I was out of line for doing that in general, just tell me and I will take it down. And he wrote me back and said, Sean, actually, I believe it or not, I saw the video you're talking about, and you didn't say anything out of line, and that what you said was really nice for Matthew and his family. So I think they would appreciate that. And so that made me feel a million times better. And then after that, sorry, Shannon MK82. Yeah, we're gonna be calling it quits here pretty soon. But yeah, Dwayne, thanks again for stopping by. It's always nice having you on, dude. Have a good night. God bless.
Craig, to answer that question about if somebody would be promoted, maybe. Oh man, I don't want to be negative, but I tend to kind of shy away from that unless, I mean, maybe Clark Lee. I could get down with that.
That's what I was going to say. If we had to pick somebody from the current staff, I would say Clark Lee.
Sean, let me throw something your way. I want to get your opinion on this because I took some –
real quick, I want to finish telling you too, later on after that, Matt James's cousin, and she confirmed it. She confirmed it. She saw the video, and she says, that was really nice of you to do that. So
good.
Really good. But anyway, go ahead with your question.
No, I'm glad that had a good ending, man, because I would feel bad too if I was in that predicament, if people were trying to make me feel like garbage about just doing something nice. But I'm glad that it worked out. Man, gosh, I run the risk of sounding like a bit of a jerk here, and I don't mean to, but like, am I the only one that felt like the Tommy Rees promotion was kind of a lazy move? Just because, I mean, we could have got Joe Moorhead. He was available. Throw a ton of money at him. That would have been a huge hire for Notre Dame as an offensive coordinator. Am I wrong for thinking that? I have confidence in Tommy Rees. Believe me, I do, and I hope the best, and I wish for the best there. But, I mean, and he called a good game against Iowa State. But it's like I can't help but to feel like Brian Kelly's like, we're going to take the easy way out. We're just going to promote Tommy Rees.
First off, Shannon, we've been going for I don't know if you see the clock. Yeah, we've been going for over 2.5 hours, which I didn't expect to go that long. I was thinking maybe an hour and a half tops.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to be getting off here pretty soon because I got to get up at 5 in the morning. But I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, with what was available out there, I'll say this: Tommy has potential to be a great coach. I mean, he's just getting his feet wet. It's hard to judge him now because he only has really a season under his belt.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think he was there the year before, was he?
He was the quarterback's coach. That was it, I think, right? I'm pretty sure this was his second year as the quarterback's coach. Because he was a grad assistant, I think, before that. I could be wrong, but I think he was.
And he's now the offensive coordinator. Or no, is he the offensive?
Yeah, he got promoted just before the bowl game, before we played in the Camping World Bowl. And so, I mean, he called a good game. I look at what was available again, and I hate this is me just being just that fan, and I don't mean to be that fan. But so I look at Joe Moorhead, he was a really good offensive coordinator at Penn State, and they let him go at Mississippi State. That could have been somebody that would really have, I think, helped the offense. And then we kind of whiffed on him, and now he's Oregon's offensive coordinator. And I'm like, damn, it kind of would have been nice to throw some money at him. But I think Notre Dame we're not that kind of program that just throws a ton of money at assistants. Doesn't feel like it anyways.
Well, also, Shannon, to answer your question, the next stream that I do will probably be sometime over the weekend, maybe. I don't know. It's never a guarantee thing, but with me and JJ here and our other colleague, I'll say, our other colleague Eric, who was on here earlier with us, we might try to make this a weekly thing, but we don't really have a set schedule. So just, if you sub to the channel, just be on the lookout for when I have one posted. I'm trying to get in a better habit of posting these streams in advance so that way people can see it on their subscription feed. And also, if you're interested, Shannon, go check out my other show that I do with my friend Ben. It's called The Two Irish Brothers. A lot of good stuff on there too. But I think, JJ, that this move with Tommy Rees, being the quarterback's coach and now promoted him to offensive coordinator, I think they're taking a shot in the dark.
Yeah, high risk, high reward. I think he's a good quarterback's coach. I mean, I think that's pretty, evident to see just on his work with Ian Book. I mean, Brian Kelly made it very clear he wanted a quarterback's coach to be the offensive coordinator. So, but, I mean, again, I just me, spitballing and thinking, what could have been, but who knows? Again, Tommy Rees called a good game against Iowa State. I hope for the best. I think Tommy Rees, just based on what I'm hearing, he's going to try to, as far as his style and offense and calling plays, it's looking like he wants to really be more of a run first team. Or at least that's the impression I'm getting. I mean, he called a lot of power run, toss, end around, against Iowa State, and it worked. We got the job done. So,
well, if he's able to utilize someone like Braden Lindsay, who has just ridiculous speed, and he should have ridiculous speed because he's a track star.
Yeah, so fast, unbelievably fast. Yeah,
if he can adjust to the game and use the abilities of the players that he's coaching and can bring the best out in them, then it could end up not being a bad hire. But yeah, as it stands right now, I think it's a shot in the dark. I think they figured he's already established with the coaching staff. He is a Notre Dame alum. So I'm not going to go as far. I'm not going to go as far to say that they're doing him a favor, because I don't feel that way. But no, I think there is. I don't think it's entirely on merit. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense.
No, that does. That makes sense, and I understand. I just thought when there's other guys, with experience that have years of calling plays and have actually proven, proven themselves as offensive coordinators, would have seemed to me that they would have tried to give that type of a coach a shot first. But then again, we don't know. Joe Moorhead could have been like, "Nah, I don't want the job." But it could have been anything. I'm okay with it. I just thought, my first initial knee-jerk reaction when I heard it was, Brian Kelly just didn't want to go through a long search. He didn't want to interview a ton of people. He wanted to bring in somebody that knew the playbook already, that was used to it, and somebody that he could kind of like puppet a little bit.
Also, he's not that much older than a lot of these guys on the team.
That's true. Yeah,
I don't think he played with any of them, but
no, he didn't play with any of them. But yeah, he's not. I think Tommy Rees is actually my age. I think he's 30. I could be wrong, but
he was there. His last year was
2012, wasn't it? Oh, 13. He was the starter in 13 because Everett Golson. That's when Everett Golson was suspended.
Yeah, he's approaching 30.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Tommy Rees played, he started, I think, almost all of 2011 and all of 2013, and he played in a couple games in 2012. As a player, I'm grateful because, he stepped in hard times and, we had some big, against Michigan, he came in when Everett Golson in 2012 threw 2 picks, and Tommy Rees was able to help us to a win there. So that was good.
Oh, and I'll tell you one thing. We all took Tommy for granted too, because that game in 2013, I believe it was, when Tommy was hurt against USC and they started Andrew Hendricks.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Andrew Hendricks, not a bad guy. I don't mean to badmouth him, but if there's anybody that could make Tommy Reese look like Joe Montana, it was Andrew Hendricks.
I remember that game. I felt bad for Andrew Hendricks. I'm like, he's way in over his head. He doesn't know. He ain't it. He don't got it.
No. All I know is our defense bailed us out of that game big time, and so did special teams because I think they blocked 2 field goals that game.
Isn't it amazing how, Brian Kelly came in and the tide has turned completely against USC? All those years that scumbag Pete Carroll, just dominating us year after year. It's so satisfying now that they're finally, they've got their comeuppance and we're dominating that rivalry again.
This is going to sound silly, but what's even more satisfying to me is all those USC trolls, which is basically one guy with multiple accounts. He hasn't been showing up.
Oh, no. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he had like 15 different burner accounts, and he would just talk.
Like Gray Moose, the Losing Irish, USC 42, ND 13 or whatever.
Yeah, Pete Carroll, I cannot stand Pete Carroll. I have a hatred for that man. I shouldn't say that, because I'm a Christian, but you know how it is, man. There was a game where Pete Carroll.
We're Christian, but we're only human, dude.
Yeah, that's true. I know. But it's like I don't want my emotions to get the better of me because I don't know him as a person. I know him from what I see on TV.
Right.
But Pete Carroll is, from what I've heard, is a big scumbag anyways. But Pete Carroll, do you remember the game where they were obliterating us? They were beating us to like 40. It was like 42-14. It was years ago. Like I think it might have been the Matt Leinart years. And at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, there was like 2 minutes left to go. This scumbag, man, he goes for it on 4th down just to score, and he scored another touchdown against us. So I have always hated him. So when the Seahawks played the Patriots, and I'm no Patriots fan, but when they played the Patriots, that was the most satisfying thing in the world, watching Malcolm Butler pick off Russell Wilson and watching that sad, sorry, stupid look on Pete Carroll's face when they lost the Super Bowl. Next time, run the ball, idiot.
Yeah, no kidding. Shannon, thank you for showing up. I'm glad we were able to at least give you a few minutes. But, yeah, definitely catch us for the next one.
For sure.
So, but, yeah, JJ, look, I'm probably going to end it myself here. I was not expecting to go this late at all.
I'm sorry, Sean. I know you got to be up early.
No, it's all right. Look, I'm not going to say what I do for a living. I mean, well, I won't say where I work, but I am a machinist.
Yeah, I know. I know that.
My work is it's not exactly like what Eric was talking about and all the moving and stuff. It's not
sure.
But still, I got to be up early, and after working nights for all the years that I did, this has been an adjustment the past 6 months.
Are you a coffee drinker?
No, I hate coffee.
Do you drink energy drinks?
No, I'm the one who chugs a Diet Mountain Dew in the morning.
I was going to ask, how do you stay awake then when you're at work? I have to have coffee like crazy.
Well, with machines running, they're pretty loud, so they keep you awake.
I can imagine. Yeah, my best friend, he works in a shop like that. All right, man. Well, hey, look, it was a pleasure actually being able to talk to you. I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, yeah, a lot of fun.
Thank you for inviting me on. Hopefully we have some more, good times here.
Well, and the next stream that you're on, we didn't discuss the hockey topic.
Oh yeah, you're right. We'll get into that. That really, you know what, Sean? I'll just leave it as a cliffhanger. That for whatever reason, that really bothered me what that player did. That really, really, really rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, it showed the hypocrisy of the Black Lives Matter organization and the movement. I'll tell you that much. So there's one hanger.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We'll get into that. Yeah, I hear you.
So anyway, to everyone who's still on, thank you for showing up. Thank you for sticking with us and watching. And yeah, just be out on the lookout for this channel. I'll try to have, like I said, the streams advertised sooner in advance than what I have been, and not just make it a last minute thing. But at least this one I did 2 days in advance.
Bingo.
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to Eric and anybody else who wants to be on, and continue.
Yeah, hopefully Walter can get a computer or whatever, a laptop. Wow, that was tough. I couldn't hear him.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. I mean, he's just working with what he has, and I understand that.
Yeah,
but yeah, because he had some good stuff that he was wanting to say, and it just was hard to hear him.
I couldn't eat, yeah, because he kept cutting out. You're right.
So, all right, man. Well, look, you take it easy, and to everybody else still here, good night, and God bless all of you.